pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It is about 6 o'clock on the nose. I'll open the December 14th special session of the Milton Budget Committee, which is a continued presentation of the Milton School District 2018-2019 budget. Let's do roll call and seating of members, starting from my left. Beginning with our secretary, for people who may not know you yet.
Sherry Gazer.
Sean Perot.
Selectmen's Rep Andy Rawson.
School Board Rep Peg Hurd.
Thomas Doodle. Bob Carrier.
Larry Brown.
Erin Hutching.
Stan Nato. Dennis Wayne.
Okay, and for the school board.
Paul Steer, School Board.
Lauren Osworthy, School Board.
Will Sussman, School Superintendent.
Ethan Castle, Financial Manager.
Melissa Brown, School Board.
Okay, thank you. Then, the number 2 reads on the agenda SAU 64 Milton School District Budget Review and Process Summary. What we did last time was do what I will call a topical review, starting with the Code 100 General Fund Regular Education, going through approximately 20 pages for the different categories, summation, questions from the school district. So we have.
Update your Android cleaner now, or your Samsung might be slowed down and your battery may discharge as quickly.
We don't want that.
Net neutrality was voted on today by the Congress. So, and
you should update your Android cleaner now, or your Samsung might be slowed down and your battery may discharge as quickly.
Sorry.
that technology surrounds us. So we went through regular education, special ed, and various categories. So let me give you my own. We also have the warrant articles which came in for our consideration. My own thought, based on some of the ways it's been done in previous years, is to start out again with the general fund and move directly from my left all the way down to my right in order. Any person who has a question on that topic, that gives each person a chance to ask a question about that general fund, and also then, if there are any questions unanswered, when each person has had a chance to bring that up, and then put it to a vote in order as we go through. Any suggestions, comments on that as a plan? It is 6:05 now. We would like to be out by 9 o'clock. I see one positive nod of head from Peg. That means, Sean, you are the lead-off hitter, if that is comfortable for you.
I'm going to pass.
Okay, that's part of the process. Then, Andy, is there something you wish to bring up under regular education, the 100, the 1100?
So is the $27,844, that's all contracted?
I'm sorry, could you please refer by page?
Okay, so we're on the very first page.
The first slide.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all contracted?
Yes. And
Okay.
that is inclusive of whatever raise
Okay.
is there.
Okay.
As is line 2 and the third one as well. And as indicated before, the reason that the middle school and high school pays are down, despite there was a 2-year contract, and this was year 2, because the reduction in force. As I explained, we were able to creatively move a position into another position, and the person that left, we didn't have to put somebody in, so we totally saved there. That was about 74,000. And there were some other areas where people retired and left the system, and in the middle high school, we tried as much as we could to get an excellent person for the job, but to have them at a low step. We try to keep them at 3. And the only reason the elementary's a little up is because they were unable to find somebody. Nobody came to me at 3rd step or less. So it was very team-oriented. We really went out there, we beat the bushes in trying to recruit the best people we can without having to pay the maximum steps for it. So we broke to our advantage. So it's a combination of a reduction in force by creatively using our staff. And this is basically, as I said last year, the philosophy that we're going to have. Every time people leave, it's an it's a way that we could creatively fill those positions and have a net gain in terms of what we have to expend as far as the taxpayer is concerned. Did that answer you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else at the moment?
So are we going to go through each?
That my plan is to, regular education ends on page, at the top of page 3.
Okay, yeah.
So what I would like to do is get questions in order
Okay.
on the 1100 regular education line.
All right, thank you.
And that, just to go around, and if a question comes to you, just while someone else is working on a question or comment, just add it up, bring it in at the end of the discussion, and then we will take just what I would call, did we, on the town budget, we voted topic by topic, did we not?
They were departments. This is
Well,
like
what I'm
one budget.
What I'm trying to do then, thank you, could not remember department. What I'm trying to do is suggest that as we go through, regular education would correspond to voting on the assessor's budget, or correspond to voting on the highway budget.
Totally
and
get
treat
it.
it as if it were a department. Does
Okay.
that sound reasonable from your end? Dennis?
Yep.
Okay. Then, did you have another question, Andy?
Yes, I did. So on, so the second page, 56,100, the high school supplies is up 22, almost 2,300. Can you just explain that?
think
Where
it's-
it went from 17,000 up to almost 20?
I think it's self-explanatory, I'm sorry, but just looking at it because,
Well, it might
Better
be
to-
self-explanatory
okay.
to you,
Okay.
Peg, because you
Okay.
sit on the
I know, school board, so I
school
know.
board. But you know,
Okay. I'm
I need some explanations on, you know, because we, you know, at the end of the day, I'll just say that we need to, you know, look at this budget. We need to be fiscal responsible for. I mean, this, you know, I just need some clarifications.
Okay.
So,
In answer to your question,
yes.
if you look at the middle school, it went down
Mm-hmm.
4,695. And one of the things that I spoke to last time was our high school principal, Jan, was here and explained. What she did was she took great pains to legitimately look at where things were going. So in this sense, some of that was expended in total, because it's a little deceiving, because the middle school is 2 and the high school is they're not, they're not in the same thing. But so what she did was she put it in the right spot.
Okay. Now I see the middle school. I understand now.
You know, because
So I appreciate
going
that.
forth, I think I would like to applaud her. She just didn't look at, well, science got whatever they got the past year,
Mhm.
and this is what we're going to lot this year, and there's this pool of money there, and go at it. So she actually went in there and said that, if you're an AD, you need 5 balls, you need 13 gloves.
Okay.
It wasn't like the baseball team gets this amount of money, and the coach then decides what they're going to do with it.
Okay.
Or from one year to the next, you got the money the year before, you're going to get it again. So she really went in there and took the thing apart.
Okay. No, appreciate it. I'm
Yeah.
all set.
Then, just for, if anybody is following, on the middle of the page, it would be line 56100-2 and 56100-3. If you just take a sideways arrow with two points, that would show how they're interrelated.
Yeah.
Anything else, Andy?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Peg, is there a question?
No.
Tom? And you're allowed a second bite if you're thinking while we.
There's going to be second and third bites here. How many elementary school teachers do we have total?
It's right in here.
Okay, the number that's in here is accurate though. I think I counted 11, if I counted right. And I went by what their I guess that's position. So I counted up, elementary teachers, and I think I counted 11.
Because there's kindergarten through 5.
Okay, I was looking at just elementary. I ignored, because the kindergarten and preschool, I consider that kind of a special thing. So I was just looking at teachers that were just elementary.
You were looking at that, yeah.
Okay. It looks like to me that we've only got, grades 1 through 5, the largest class we have is 48. And yet we also have paraprofessionals, I think, for elementary school as well. Do we need 11 teachers for 240? It was actually like 194 kids.
Well, if you remember, you asked a very good question, Bob. Remember last year we cut one in grades 1 to 5. And right now, the way it's configured, it makes sense. The only thing moving outward would be to have a multi-grade, to look at the multi-grade concept over the course of time and train people. What a multi-grade means, that you have students that know and are able to do certain work in grade 1 and they've progressed. And you have students in grade 2 that know and are able to do certain things and they're not as progressed. So a multi-age classroom, you'd take like 10 students that would traditionally be in first grade and 10 students that would be in grade 2, and you combine them.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I expressed even a year ago when I first got here, and I also mentioned to the school board, is that come next year I really would like to explore it, but in order to embark on it, and I've done it before, is you got to really train the people. You can't just go in there and have staff that isn't trained, because it could turn out to be a horror show.
Okay. Yeah, but I believe, Nate, did you have an partial answer for?
I was just going to point out that on page 21, which I think is where you're looking.
Yep.
Just for clarification, the funding source, if it shows 1100-1,
Yep.
that would be, so -1 is elementary.
Okay. All right.
That's what that means. So -2 is middle school, and -3 is high school.
Okay. All right. Now, I really wish I'd asked this question before. That would have made it a lot easier.
Okay. So if I am following Tom's question, if there are 18 students in the class right now, Is it possible to reshape the number of students in the class per given grade so that four teachers handle 23 students each rather than five teachers handling 18? Or is that just the structure of the number of students in the grade who require a teacher for that grade?
Yeah. You know, because we have basically 2 in one case grade. But as I said, that if you configure it in such a way you have a multi-age, you might have an opportunity to reduce it and force it another year, having trained people and letting parents know we're doing the appropriate things to make it good as far as students are concerned.
Yeah, but it's still the base, just looking at number of teachers and the number of students, that we have at least one of the grades has 3 teachers. Because I counted 11 people whose position was elementary teacher, I think. And granted, I was doing this at work when I was trying to also do other stuff, so I didn't miscount. There was always a chance.
Not on tape.
I'm certain my boss doesn't watch this. He's got other things to do. And it looked like to me that we had, I understand you have to have a class size of 25, no more than 25 kids per teacher. Looks like we're well under that. And it seemed to me that there was one more teacher than what we needed, unless I counted wrong or I was misunderstanding how things were configured.
You know, it looks like we have the appropriate size and really in the best interest of the students in education to go any further, you know, at this point in time. We will, like I said, the way to address it is the multi-age concept.
You also have the issue of how many children are on an IEP per classroom. You wouldn't want to overwhelm. You could have maybe only 18 kids in a classroom, but if you have so many kids on an IEP.
But isn't that where the paraprofessional comes in?
Well, it depends on the paraprofessional, the one-on-one, or what type of IEP is.
Yeah, but like I said, it just, you know, my simple looking at it, just looking at kids and teachers, it looks like we've got more teachers than we have to have for elementary school. We've got I tried to look at this for middle school and high school also, and that the water's got much more murky there. Because understanding we don't have, you know, elementary school confined classroom, just one teacher got the kids for the most part. And you get into high school, and now kids are moving around, and it got much trickier trying to figure out.
Quick question.
Just did some math.
But, yes.
Just, I mean, and this is just obviously just looking at basic math. If you go to page 36, the students that are enrolled, taking pre-K out, and you said it yourself, no more than 25 students.
Yes.
You're looking from kindergarten through grade 5. If you break that up into 25 blocks and go over, you're looking at 11 teachers.
Yeah, I
And then you
didn't
have
count
to have the
kindergarten.
one pairs and
I counted
so.
grade 1 through grade 5,
Yeah.
and there's 194 kids. I'm assuming because kindergarten teachers are spelled out separate, I discounted them, I didn't count them. There's still, and we need, for what the state says, we need 10 teachers. No complaint, we need 10 teachers, we've got 11.
But kindergarten is, I mean, we have.
Yeah, I discounted the kindergarten because there's a kindergarten. I didn't count them in my teacher assessment. I just went by teachers that were called elementary teachers, and there was 11 of them, assuming I counted right. And we've got 194 kids that are in grades 1 through 5. So it seems to me that we have more elementary teachers than what we have to have, and they're fairly small classrooms. I mean, they're, you know, the biggest one would be 24 kids per class. So.
Yes, I will offer one more simple math on that. An arbitrary grade 3 that has 38 students in it. If you assign 25 students to one teacher at the maximum, you're left with 13. Those 13 students will want a full day of instruction. You can't do that on a part-time person. So, point taken. The superintendent's statement is that it meets the criteria of the state and is responsive to his goal for moving the students forward, and next year, a multi-year plan might come out of it. Bob, do you have a question? Aaron?
You pretty much addressed it, except my only question is it dictated by the state, the 25 students to a class? Is that state mandated, or is that just a preferred?
It's the preferred.
Well, Peg's saying
I
it's,
believe it
it's-
is. I couldn't find anything that said it's dictated by the
Yeah,
state. Did you find
I
something?
found something, granted it was old, and it's on the internet, you can believe everything you read on the internet.
Right.
But it was dated 2005, 2006, and it said K through 3, I think, was 25 kids per class. 3 through 12 was 30 kids per class,
You
maximum.
know, I've always
I
known
think.
through the years, that's kind of the guide post, whether it's in the RSAs or statutes or Massachusetts or Maine or New York
Right.
or wherever.
Well, I know
You
a lot of other states,
You know.
it's a lot greater.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted,
It
is
could
it
be-
mandated or?
Yeah, it could be higher, but the rule of thumb I've always followed is, if you can see the last 2 years in terms of having the staff things, I've cut back in staff. And it isn't anything that we're not really taking a good, hard look at. It's like Laura was just saying, the 48 kids in 4th grade, if there were 2 classes, it's 24. Somebody transfers in and out, you move a college to 3. You're kind of like on that fine point there. So that's why you can absorb it if you have a multi-age and cut back on that one staff. Or if we reduce a little more, then as some of the people are taking a look at, you have the other part of the stance where now parents are concerned about the educational level and the 25 kids, whatever. But it's a fine line, and it assuredly is something that we're going to keep a good close eye on.
Yes. Stan, question
I'm
on
going to
the...
pass for now.
Oh, okay. Dennis?
Yeah, as I stated before, as a general rule, I don't have a problem with the regular education. My concerns are basically in line with Tom, Aaron. Just for clarification, the first 3 lines, excuse me, put my glasses on so I can read them. 51, 120 down to 51. Yeah, 1 down to 3. That directly dictates what the next, 51, 110 to 1, down to 52, 320-3. So those first 3 salary lines dictate those next half dozen.
Because it has an effect, you're correctly right, on, you have less folks there.
Right.
And you're paying them less, your help is less in your retirement, and it defers away, it takes away from the mandates every year. You folks are in the committee, people sit up here and they go, well, the health went up a certain amount, 7% depending on the year. Retirement went up. We can't help but that go up. The only thing, as has been pointed out before, what you can help is the amount of folks you have. If you cut folks, then you're right. Then you're right. It has a direct correlation to them.
So I think that's kind of where, like I said, Tom and Aaron are going. If to make any further adjustments, there's a decision to be made. You either cut the pay or cut the number of
Oh, you
people.
can't cut those pays, those are the
Right.
CBA.
Right. So therefore, what's the alternative?
Yeah, but you're right. The only way that you can continue to save is by cutting staff. I don't know that to be.
No,
But by cutting staff, you get, that's the whole thing that I've been saying, the philosophy, less is more.
Right.
So if you have less, you can pay the ones left more, and if they're good ones, then you can retain them. So that's basically what the whole philosophy has been based on.
Okay. Then I was just about to say, that ends the left to right. Open session. Any other questions? Aaron, you had one?
So, I'm not a mathematician, so Nathan, if I'm doing the math right, $893,614 for elementary school teachers is $81,237.69. Am I missing something, or
That's all,
am I?
all on page 21 is all the salaries. 21, 22.
And I mean, that's just an average, obviously, but if you take that, am I missing something? I mean, please tell me if I am.
I'm
new
not
at
really
this.
sure what you're asking.
Well,
You take that amount and
Stan-
divide by
Stan.
11.
You're asking if their average salary?
right. Is
Okay.
that what the average salary is? Because I'm going back and getting my.
No, that's including their benefit package.
Right, but I mean,
No,
benefits is part of
no,
the
because
pay.
benefits are down below.
There's more 11 in that line, though. There's 18.
Yeah.
There-
Oh,
oh,
that-
okay, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know.
I'm
is
sorry.
Yeah.
Thank
What
you.
the number
Thank you,
was
Nathan.
there, okay.
Okay.
That clears up, that makes me
Okay.
feel a little
Because
better.
he was speaking just to the grades K through 5 right in the rooms itself.
Okay,
You
all
know,
right, so that's
looking at the
18.
fact, can we go one less, but it didn't take account everybody else in the line, so subsequently, you divided them up instead of they
Right.
getting $82,000 per person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I said
yeah,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
could answer
Yeah.
that question, so it's 18.
yeah. Roughly.
I feel better.
Roughly 20 times
Right,
4
100.
is 80. So you're looking at a salary somewhere slightly under 40,000. I
Then
think.
is that-
Okay. The question was, what was the math on the elementary principals, on the elementary teachers? 18 divided into 880 will give you roughly dividing, calling the 1820, 20 times 4 is 80, a little over $40,000 as an average salary. Bob Carrier.
But that's not including benefits or
No,
anything.
a
That's
benefit, what is
strictly.
the question would be, on an average, I remember a figure of 43.7 as a, Earl's phrase, a rule of thumb for computing benefits. What, does the district use a figure like that for just eyeballing?
The average plus with benefits?
Yeah,
I'll tell you exact.
The average teacher was 72,029.
With Benny's.
Yes. And now if I ask you, well, that's teacher and the other staff that are in here, that's not guidance, that's not library, that's just teachers.
How
Right.
much did you say?
I came up with 72,029, about.
That's about what I had.
Okay.
and
And that would be the average burden rate for a teacher.
right, the salary itself, if you took that 70,000 figure, of that, what is the percentage of that salary represented by negotiated contract benefits, health, dental, whatever? Do you use an average figure, 35%, 40%?
I just calculated exact.
And that is,
For FICA?
no,
What percentage of their total compensation is made up of the stuff other than their pay?
yeah.
The health, the retirement,
What is called bennies.
it used to be a third. You used to say a third.
Yeah,
And basically, it's not too far off, because you were saying $42,000 the average pay, 72,000 is the whole compensation,
Mhm.
so it's even more, it's even more than a third.
it's about
now.
70% it looks like, roughly.
Okay, good. Then, was there another question, Stan? You said you had, okay. Anyone else?
I mean, if we're gonna talk about the whole budget in general, I have things to say, but we're just talking about just general fund of the,
I would
General.
like to go through and get it in general heading by general heading, so that we know we are done with questions on regular education. So we have agreement that such and such a number is accurate for our own purpose. If there's a number we want to change, that we have a basis in the questions we ask the school board to get there. Bob Carrier, did you have any questions? No. Okay. Then, for the 1100 regular education, the proposed figure for fiscal year 2019 is $3,197,396. What does the committee wish to say about that number at this point? Anything? Do you want to vote it up, down? If we are going to vote by function, do you want to do a running tally the same way we did for the town budget, so that Nate and possibly Sean would redo the budget from our perspective, either up or down on a given category? Is that question clear enough?
No.
No. Do you remember what we did on the town budget?
Right, we approved each department budget.
Yes. Okay. And the point,
and then did a tally.
The point I was trying to make is, if you call regular education a department,
okay,
you either voted up or down the same way you voted the highway department up or down.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to do that as a format, or you just want to keep going and come back to what Stan said, general discussion at the end?
I think it makes it easier to do it piece by piece, like you're recommending.
Okay.
My personal opinion.
Then, Bob Carrier, you're. I thought I heard you were just breathing. Better be breathing. Then, if it is clear, and I'll say it one more time, I would like to handle the general topics, the 1100, the 1200s, and the rest, as if they were town department totals. And I would like to have.
Well, I'll make a recommendation. When we're doing the town budgets as a selectman, I asked each department head, if there was any room in this figure, if you folks could find any room in this figure. So I'm asking you, is out of this $3,197,003.96, is there any room in that figure that you could find a place to remove some funds?
Thank you.
Already cut what they can, and most of it has been cut. I mean, we're less than we were last year from a budget to budget case, despite the pay increases, despite the retirement, despite everything. Comparing eggs to eggs, we're down from where we were the year before. So we've been doing this for 2 months and constantly going back and meeting with the department heads. The first thing the board was looking at was a 2% increase. Then from the 2% increase, we said, okay, can we get down even more? Can we get down to 0? So then we went down to there to 0 and below 0. So I don't know, would that...
When we originally, the original proposal was a 0.91% increase. So we've cut, it went from 0.91 increase to a 0.14% decrease. So we're looking at a very thin budget as it is.
So give me the math. Am I adding that correctly as a 2% negative reduction from the 0.91 to the minus? About a 2% swing?
Yeah, 1%.
So that Andy's question is exactly what I was looking for. As the school board and superintendent reviewing the requests of the middle school principal, the high school principal, Bob Adams, and the question you put to them is the same question that Andy was putting to his department heads. What in this budget did you find that you can reduce? Nate, you are saying that in discussions, category function by function, it went from a 0.91 increase to a -1 Give me the number
It was a
again.
0.14% decrease.
0.14 decrease. So that's more of a swing of a percent, not
Yeah.
2%. My math, sorry. Okay. Andy, does that answers half of your question? Paul?
Yeah, I'll also just have just a quick comment on that. I know we're not there yet, but as you get into the warrant articles, I think this is, since I've been on the first year, that the only thing that will increase spending at all is our annual library that we asked for. Everything else is at no additional cost of the taxpayer this year, and that was my primary goal going into warrant articles. If we weren't gonna have, if we were gonna have warrant articles that spend more money, I wasn't gonna put any of them on here. I was adamantly against it. The library we do every year, I think it's a wonderful thing, so we really tried to, cut every corner we could this year. So,
Bob Carrier.
Nate, what's the uncontrollable cost? What's the percentage of the uncontrollable cost? I remember in 2014, Bruce Woodruff was looking for a simple way, what is controllable, what is not. And he found it easier because this budget is so massive that what is it we can control? If I remember the math right, it was about 80 some odd percent uncontrollable, and he had the list of it. Salaries, healthcare, workers' comp, and a few others. I wish I would have brought it with me. I found it. It was easier because the controllable cost was around 11%. There's not a whole lot we can dig in there. Do you have it?
Maybe just calculate.
Okay. It was helpful to him because he saw what he could move and what he couldn't move. I had that paper and I forgot to bring it with me. It shows you how much we can move.
I don't, it's on my drive, I don't have access to it here.
Okay, but
I remember the spreadsheet you were talking about, and if memory serves, it wasn't even 11%.
I remember it as closer to 94.
Yes, I was thinking like 5%.
Uncontrollable?
At that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, that's a good point. If you do this enough, just generally, we've been working with department heads, I've been trying to go to where I knew we had a chance to do something. That's why I keep going back to the personnel, because if you don't have the personnel, then you don't have to worry about the retirement and the health and the fixed costs going up. So, you hate to say it, but, that's where you try to go, because if you don't have the personnel, then you don't have to worry about the degree of how much fixed costs are going to go up. Because the fixed costs are going to go up, you have no control of that. And then here, they've really got, I know, I watched high school principal, and, I've done a lot of these for years, and I, was high school principal many years, and also school superintendent. So, in answer to your question, she's really scrutinized this. She's gone through the nuts and bolts and gone down to the real specifics. You can tell when you talk to her here. I mean, she's black and white.
I just brought that up only because it helped him out and it showed where we can move and where we can't move.
Correct.
So there's not a whole lot that you can toy around with this.
Bob, that number changes yearly as liabilities fall off too. For example, we don't have the module we have to pay for now. So that liability's gone, so that number down just went down lower. You know what I mean? That changes with different
This
commitments.
was about 3 years ago and I just wanted to.
Yeah. It changes with
Yeah.
contractual commitments, and that module is no longer a contractual commitment, that's gone.
It's true. One of the things that I like very much about the Budget Committee is some of the living memory of the tribe and some of the inputs we get from having the town on board as well as the different viewpoints of people. And Bob's comments, Andy's question, and Nate's memory, and the question, what is the percentage under local control? And if you look at page 2, where it starts from about the middle, the question that Andy first brought up, elementary supplies versus middle, and then you go down from the audiovisual materials down to the bottom of page 2, over to the top of page 3. Andy's question was, what have you looked at in this budget where you have some place to cut? And every negative number there shows where the declines are based compared to previous years, with a number down in that final bottom right-hand corner of a minus almost $44,000. So I think, is that a fair follow-up to?
Yeah, it was 10 minutes ago, or 15, so I'm happy. Thank you.
Okay. Then, is there any other question?
Over the budget committee.
Any other question on regular education? May I have a motion to accept the fiscal year 19 proposed figure of $3,197,003.96 as a budget committee's figure? Or not?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
It's just a straw vote anyway, it's not a deciding vote at the end. It's
Well,
just a straw vote.
if we can tick off major categories, and I'm going to put large asterisks through them, then we will know what we are discussing in detail at the end.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andy. I will take Stan's point. We'll call it a straw vote, but I would not expect it to change unless there was some massive new information. On the straw consensus, from my left, Sean?
No.
Okay. Andy?
Nay.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Was that, I'm sorry?
Nay.
Nay. Okay. Bob?
Yes.
Nay.
No.
No.
Okay. Then we will leave that alone. It still has a major question mark after it. That moves down to special education. We have had the general discussion from last week. Again, starting from my left, Sean, is there a question you wish to bring up under the 1200 topic? No. Andy?
No.
Peg?
No.
Tom?
I think so.
Okay.
When I look at the salary sheet, I see you've got three para positions that are unfilled that are in the 1200 line for the funding source. I'm assuming that they're paraprofessionals for special ed, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is it a safe assumption to say they're not filled right now?
Correct.
Okay. How is it going without having those? Is it, I mean, from what little I know about special ed's is the big elephant. You do what you have to for special ed. If we're getting along now without having those three positions, why would they be necessary? Or are we not getting along and we're just limping along with, baling wire and duct tape?
Okay, so support.
Yeah, there's subs and there's also students that leave
Not bright beginnings.
at some point in the year.
Peg?
There's students that leave at some point in the year, and then they float and replace the people that don't have it. So a combination of limping along in various ways.
Okay.
So I don't know if I got the answer to what you just asked.
Well, basically they're limping along. They need them. They're limping along.
There's
And
subs, you get subs.
Subs that take that position.
And,
right.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
you have people that leave and come, and you
Yeah.
just,
okay.
yeah.
So it's baling wire and duct tape is how you're managing without having these three positions filled.
Yeah.
But you're actually filling them by alternate means. That's not ideal. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Because I saw that and I thought, oh, three positions. If we're getting along fine without having them, do we need them? Then after the explanation of the 1,200 being the funding source, I realized, well, maybe we do need that, and something else is happening. So,
These are required according to the individual education.
yeah, that's what I suspected it being, the 1,200 line, and I thought I'd get some more further clarification on that. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
in the absence of an assigned hired para, a substitute is drawn from the general budget and assigned to a special ed cost.
Subs.
Yeah, subs, okay. Then, Bob Carrier. Aaron?
Not right now.
No problem, get a second bite. Stan?
No.
Dennis?
Yeah, I got a question. This kind of goes back to Bob's question about control versus uncontrolled. Special education, FY19 proposes $2.45 million.
Give him a page and line, please.
Page 6,
Page,
special education total,
page,
1,200 lines. $2,459,880. And like I said, going back to Bob's question about controlled versus uncontrolled, I see very little here, from what I understand, that there is any control, or as far as from the budgeting perspective. What are we looking at? We're looking at maybe line 1,255, 650-2 down. That's on page 5. To the end. I mean, we're talking maybe $2,000. Out of a $2 million budget, we can handle $2,000. We have control over $2,000.
You correct?
That's insane.
that's the
I
mandate.
don't see how that's a correct answer, Earl. Because if you go back to line 5140-0 and 5140-1, the increase on the elementary sped support salaries and the middle sped support salaries is more than the $2,000.
No, he was just talking about this.
I was referring to this control.
Right, well, that's controlled. That was 2 lines are controllable.
I think that's, again, the staff that works with the students to fulfill their IEP.
Okay, but what I'm saying is the overall increase is substantial from last year. We had this discussion last week on this, that I kept on asking how many people that line represented. And a lot of times it was 1 or 2 people. And that was quite the increase. But anyway, I think that's, well, there is more controllable than what people think there is.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because based on what Bob was trying to come forward with, and based on my question on the previous function, you talk about the salaries and all the associated costs of health insurance and.
No, just the teachers' salaries and the CBA,
Okay.
The contract. Support staff, everyone else is not under that contract. Those are all controlled by the school board.
That includes, that is that strictly.
If it's not a teacher, it's controlled by the school board. If it's a teacher, it's under the contract.
I understand what you're saying. I thought you meant having the person for the student. What you're talking about is the contract that the person has.
Well, I'm
Right.
just explaining to
You know
him what
I mean?
we can't
have
touch it,
control.
the CBA, that's all done.
Yeah.
People voted on it and it's cut in stone. We can't even think about that. But other things, other increases in pays that aren't part of that contract, the CBA, then that's a different story.
Like, what are you referring to?
Well, support staff is not under the CBA, correct?
I understand what you're saying. Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
Well, things like secretaries.
Right. Paraprofessionals, all that. It's all not part of that.
Doesn't break it loose much more.
Okay. May I, Sean?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So I have a question regarding like the director. So there's 3 lines for directors, 1 for each of the schools. Would that ever cover a single person? Would someone have that role where they would be the director of multiple projects?
That is one person.
Gotcha.
We
Okay.
split up between the 3 different schools.
So how about like the secretaries? Is that kind of
Same.
similar?
Same, just one secretary.
What does BB support? BB?
Right
Beginnings.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. That sounds like a good program.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If I remember correctly, Peg, you should have this. Doug is not here. I hope he is well for his situation. There have been some changes made in paraprofessional pay. If I remember correctly, it was down very much in the bottom end of the burger, the burger restaurant chain, and you have raised those salaries. Do you have figures for what the salaries were and what they have been raised to? I remember a figure of about 50 cents per hour increase. I do not know what that referred to. That might answer some of Dennis's question about controllable costs and where salaries were for non-contract employees. Nate, do you have that material? Earl, do you have it conversationally? Paul? Melissa?
I know part of the basis for it was of how we got to what we did. I think it's the same conundrum as the police department is facing. Getting tired of the revolving door of people coming in for a stepping stone. Let's go through Milton, get some training, and then move on to bigger and better things. Retention was really low. And you're not going to retain people when you're paying them $10 an hour, where you can go to Cumberland Farms and get the same kind of pay and not have to deal with students and faculty and this and that, meetings and everything else for the same pay.
But you're not getting the same benefits, though.
You're not getting the same benefits, but when it comes down to it, when you get hired for a job, yes, I know there's a benefit package, but I'm going to take the job that pays me $15 versus the job that pays me $10 all day long, because I see that in my check every week. I'm not going to the hospital every week. I'm seeing that in my paycheck when I got a family to support, and that's what these people are thinking, as opposed to going, you know what, I'll make $10 for a year and then I'm going to go someplace better.
I think the answer is what you see, going back to Tom's question. He said, why do we not have 3 of the positions filled? The results, the answers in the results. If it was that appetizing of positions, then they would be wanting to fill them. These are very extraordinarily demanding jobs. And students with learning, behavioral, having these issues, you know, you work for 8 hours, you know, 8 hours a day, and you could get a comparable wage for standing around somewhere. You know, the answer is in the result itself. It speaks for itself.
Mr. Chairman?
Then, Peg.
I mean, I just want to answer as a teacher, former teacher, that paraprofessionals in the classroom are critical, they're key. Sometimes, I mean, they are treated as a nothing, and they many times are the unsung hero in a classroom. So, and ours were underpaid. We were having trouble finding paras. So,
Paul.
And I think on that note as well, Stan hit it on the head. They're not covered by the CBA. They're not covered by it. So, you know, they're the slave to the grind, as opposed to the people that, you know, this, he said, we can't even touch this because it's covered by the CBA.
Yeah.
These aren't covered by the CBA. That pretty much proves the point of why we did what we did, to get these people so they'll stay and show that they're recognized, besides the fact that we're under a contract. Can't do anything.
yeah.
So,
Without us being able to hire paras, you know, we didn't have them, we didn't fulfill what we needed under IDA, we would lose federal funding.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to be competitive. There were pages and pages of paras. We couldn't get people. Beginning of the school year, we were so low on paras. Without raising them, we were not getting any, and we could lose our federal funding.
Do you remember from your discussion on the school board what the starting salary for a para is?
One of the pays was $8.62 an hour.
Right now?
Was.
Okay, that's what I remembered,
Yeah.
$8.90. That's just being converted.
You know, and we aren't there yet, and we discussed it. But again, I'm repeating myself, the answers and results. Why did 2 of the nearest 5 school districts not be able to get their school buses out? You know, kids weren't going to school till like 9:30 in the morning. So start getting a community of people that can't get their kids transported and are missing an hour and a half of class each day and can't go to an area high school where they might be going at all for a period of time. And let's see what the end result is. The board and myself were trying to be proactive. We saw an issue. We saw these people underpaid. We saw what the results of it when these type of people are underpaid. You have special education students that aren't getting the help they need in the classroom. You have school buses that you can't get out of the lot. And it doesn't make for a very good experience. So that is the reason, you know, and also in all honesty, I think it was brought up down here last time, well, why don't you do it under the 2 years, you know, phase it over the course of 2 years. That was a very excellent point. But what we were dealing with was, you know, as Mr. Shute said, and some of the people said here, there was some offers being made by area schools for some of these types of employees. You know, I didn't see it in print. If you sign up and drive bus, we'll give you five, you know, so it was pretty lucrative in terms of you sign up because they were concerned they couldn't get their school buses out. So it isn't something that we necessarily, you know, wanted to do in that quick a way. But when you see a need, you got to react.
Then, we're still in the free question time for the anybody who has something they want to bring up for that. Erin.
On the track, what exactly is the track mean on here? Is that what their degree or what their on the salaries?
Yes.
There's 4 tiers. I think there's 4 tiers there. And
Depends on the salary schedule.
So a lot of the HQ certified. What's for the para?
Yeah, that's basically it's either a associate's degree or they have to pass a specialized test to become
State
certified
test,
to be
yes.
a para.
Well, some of them it has BA or BS, which I'm assuming is a bachelor's degree.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the HQ certified, I would say, have just taken a test.
Yep.
And
Or they have their associates.
okay. And they do pay into the state retirement as well, right? So they
Yes.
are getting, and they work the normal school year that all teachers work, the 9.5 months or whatever it works
Correct.
out to be.
Yep.
Okay. Going back to the town budget, for one new employee, the point was made that is an individual with an associate degree. The starting salary offered by the town was $15 per hour. An individual who does not have the wide range of function and a specialized training to work as a para in a school district. And that's the town budget was accepted by this committee with a 4.07% increase. So, on the discussion of the 1,200 special education quote department, any other question? Aaron?
No.
No. Any question of this?
Nope.
No? What, on a straw vote, what is the opinion of the committee for the total of special ed, which Dennis had mentioned? We have
$2,459,880.44.
Yes.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I have one other question, not necessarily directly related to the budget here. last year we had a large expense come in that due to special ed. What would happen if we were to have somebody that was come in that we had to deal with special ed that just totally blew the budget out of the water? Is there a capital reserve fund somewhere? Or is there? Yeah, but I mean, if you have somebody come in and it's going to cost us, $200,000 because they need special equipment and this and that. I'm thinking something, is there? What's the plan for that? Or is there one?
Well, we have the warrant article for
Yeah.
one of them, so we put 50,000
Yep.
a year into that fund.
Okay, so how much is in the fund now? Do we know?
Approximately 156,000.
Okay, so again, back to my question. Somebody comes in next month and it's going to cost $250,000 for the school because of whatever they might. And I'm making numbers up, but if something happens that that fund is used and you still need additional funds, what happens? Like the town has an unreserved fund balance, that sort of emergency, right? That if the building burns down, you gotta, or whatever. Is there something similar for the school, for an instance, where, or is it, now we really got to start scraping pennies and picking change out of the cow?
Both of what you said. This is what Paul said, what Susie said.
Well, technically, if I'm not mistaken, the school board can come to this board and ask for the 10% rider in an extreme emergency, which in turn means that the following tax bill would go up because then the town would have to raise and appropriate that 10%
Okay,
rider.
so they would come to this, and this was just more for my, because we had a big increase last year, and I wonder, well, what happens if that happens? And it's more than what funds have been set aside for.
There is that safety net. I have never seen it happen, but
I pray it doesn't, but just in case, I'm just curious. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I put a sidetrack there, but.
No problem. It all works to the discussion. I believe there's also a provision where the school board may request a special meeting to address costs. That's after March. Okay.
I just want to,
Bob, sure.
you got non-public, you got dollar in these lines. I personally don't know why you don't put something in there, because once you get a student in there, that bottom line is going to change. You got a dollar in there. The minute you get one student with just a minor,
Give me
Line.
oh, I'm on
Page
page
line.
5.
page 5.
Okay, it's tuition non-public, you got two of them with a dollar in it. If you look at the other two columns, there's already money been spent out of that line too. Just the minimum they have, but you don't put nothing in there, but you've got no students, but I'm sure you're gonna get them before the year's out. I don't know why you don't put a little buffer in there, a little bit.
Well, isn't that what that program we have going in the schools to help relieve that?
It's only in the younger kids.
Right, well, you have high school, you have money in there for. You talk about elementary and junior high.
Okay. Paul?
No, the middle, okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess it's based on, a lot of these lines have $1 in them, $1 in them, and we've had lines that have gone through 2 and 3 years with X amount in them. And when it comes down to budget season, it's like, okay, the last 2 years we haven't used it, we're gonna take it out because we could use it in other places or decrease spending somewhere else. So it's along the same line. It's like saying, okay, if God forbid something catastrophic happens at the school, yeah, we have a little bit of a fund, but we can't, we have to kind of take from some to give to some, and it's the only way we can do it.
I've been on the budget committee, I've never seen a dollar stay there. It either goes out, now last year, he spent over $230,000 in the red. It was a lot higher than that. But if you put something in there, it's gonna happen, I'm sure of it, and it's gonna really skew that bottom line. I'm just wondering why you don't do it. You just answered my question, but.
We'd have to take it from somewhere else or add to the budget.
So my guess would be you would be taken out of the regular education? Is that what would happen?
Out of the,
I think that's the place where it has to go.
the 10% of uncontrollables, 10% of controllables we have.
Okay, I'm all set.
And then, we are, any other discussion from the committee on the final number for the 1,200 account special education, which shows a proposed budget for fiscal 19 of $2,459,880.44. Straw vote from my left. Sean?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Peg?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Stan?
I still don't like the salaries part. I'll say yes.
And I'm sorry, Dennis.
I don't see much more that you can do, so, yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Sean?
the recording secretary is probably actually paying attention. Just said there was actually no motion made.
It was only a straw vote.
Okay, because the last time we did.
Yeah, we changed.
We must have missed that memo.
Yeah, we must have missed that memo. There was no interest in having a formal vote on it. We brought back to a straw vote. No motion made. Just a more formal consensus.
On another note, is the chairman going to vote, or?
That the chairman votes. Chairman votes yes. And that takes us down. Next topic would be the $12.99, the Medicaid fees. Would someone from the school board just review very quickly what Medicaid fees represent to the district?
Dennis made the motion.
Yeah, it represents the fees that we pay a third party to get reimbursed for some special ed.
Oh, okay,
expenses.
yes.
So
Thank you.
the more money we get in reimbursement, the higher that'll go up,
Mhm.
and vice versa.
Okay, so they are a contract service.
Yep.
They're not a line item. They don't require any FICA or health insurance.
Correct.
No, nothing. Any question on that from the board itself? So they were basically a headhunter, and it has proven, I take it, cheaper for the district to use them than to try to negotiate it with a possible changing staff member of your own.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any discussion on that, or shall we move, since that seems so cut and dried, down to the vocational program of 1,300?
1,300.
1,300. Again, Sean from my left, question?
No questions.
Andy? And you can come
I'm
back.
sorry. What page is that on?
That is on page 6.
Okay, I apologize.
Function 1,300.
Okay.
If you're thinking, we come back and...
Yeah, go ahead.
Peg?
No questions.
Tom?
I don't know if I asked this question the last time. If we did, I've forgotten what the answer was and didn't write it down. How many kids does this program cover? Is it just the 16 that are listed at the bottom? Or is it in the notes? I think there's 16 kids that are listed. Is it just those 16, or are there other kids that are in the program that aren't necessarily mentioned down there in the notes?
I know it's just reference
Yeah.
to the high
Where they're going.
ed tech. So 16 under that.
Yeah, but are there others that this program covers that aren't? Is there more than 16 kids covered by it?
Yes, but I don't have the number.
Okay. All right. Would it be 20? Would it be 80? Closer to 20 than 80?
If memory serves, last year it was around 50.
Okay. All right.
And the
closer to 80.
Okay. The structure responsibilities of the school to work coordinator are. That's my next question. Earl?
School to work coordinator. What are their
What does the school to work coordinator do? What populations do they serve? For people who are aging out in program, for people who are graduating and heading for a
All of what you're saying.
competitive work environment,
Precisely.
and both of those. Okay, 50 students served last.
On that one subject, does the school to work coordinator work 12 months out of the year or the 9 months out of the year?
I believe it's 9.
And wouldn't that be a guidance counselor? Wouldn't, I mean, that kind of be the, I mean, is that one of those things you could incorporate?
Is this the ELO or no?
It would coordinate with that, yes.
The question was, could
It be incorporated
a
into
guidance
the
counselor do that?
combined?
Not really.
No.
Peg?
I'm going to say absolutely not, because they're dealing with quite a few kids who are special needs, and it is a full-time job. So, and guidance counselors, on the other hand, also have a full-time job of the rest of the kids in the building, and so just from my experience, I'm going to say they need to be two separate positions.
Okay, I don't mean to be a jerk about this, but did you just say that vocational students are primarily special education students?
No, but the school to work coordinator does cover those kids. The students that just get on a bus and go down to Dover or to Rochester could be everyday students. But the actual school to work person is working with the special ed kids.
Thank you.
And there's
You're
a
welcome.
transition that the state, when they do the audit, when they do the special ed audit, they assure that work transition, that transition after they finish their school years is attained. I think it's indicator number 13. So they look at specific indicators to ensure that, because we have responsibility for special education students until they're 21. And one of the areas that reports for the state look at very strong is that transition to work. And most schools have found that they need to improve that.
I want to just reiterate something. It's not a budgetary thing, but between what you just said and what I learned last week, between right beginnings, starting in pre-kindergarten at age 3 to the end of special education responsibilities at 21, it's a long time.
I think Melissa did a good job.
That the town is responsible for providing for.
You're correct, and that's something that is surprising that they have a separate preschool education group that works with 3 and 4-year-olds, and then you go to 19, 20, and 21.
Isn't that Head Start though? Is that the same, or is that two different programs? Head Start and Bright Beginnings. Is that two different?
Two different.
Yes.
Two different. We remember she was talking about it last year.
And how are those kids selected, since you brought it up? How are those kids selected? If there's, if I remember what she said correctly, say 5 that are special needs, and then you have to incorporate X amount, and they can only have up to 20 kids is what they can handle, so that's 15 that are not special needs. If the taxpayer dollars are paying for it, how are the other 15 selected to be part of that program? You see what I'm saying? How some taxpayers, if they knew that, how would their kids get in the program? You're looking like confused.
No, I
mean, how would you select what kids would go into that program that aren't special needs versus, I mean, wouldn't you kind of have to, if it's being paid for by taxpayer dollars, open that up to all of those kids between the ages of 3 and 5?
I think the selection process, you're very correct, because what you're really doing is through taxpayer dollars, you're providing preschool education.
Childcare, also,
at
you know.
at no cost. So I think that.
I think that came up last week, or last meeting, and they have opened it up, that particular program to everybody, because they have to have a certain ratio of kids that are considered special needs to those that aren't. So it is open to everybody.
I thought she said they had to cap it at like 20 students, that they couldn't have more than X amount of students in there.
Yeah,
because they didn't have the, I don't know if it's the teachers or the
But
structure or whatever to handle more.
I think the criteria is said is correct, that it has to be half and half. But in justifying the half and half, what you're talking about is recognizing that you do need half and half. How do you deal with the selection process? Because essentially, they're getting a free preschool at the taxpayer dollars, which is not necessarily a budget question, but a question of doing things right.
Right. Well, I figured
I
something
will-
kind of open the
You'll
door.
feel free to
Right.
give us a call and we'll,
Yeah,
give-
okay.
and we'll provide the answer to
Okay, Peg.
Just to clarify that is a state mandate now that you have to have 50-50. So if you have 10 special needs students, you have to have 10 regular ed students. And it is a state mandate now, so.
And so there has to, I'm sure Aaron's question has to come up before. My presumption is that somewhere in the regs there is a neutral lottery assignment.
Which will
Sounds good.
We'll bring it up.
That's what I would look for is a neutral lottery assignment.
Well, it just, I mean, I don't have kids,
But
not
it's
that.
still an equity type
Right,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
And with the tax rate,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Exactly.
if people are getting something from what they're, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just trying to find some balance here,
It's a good discussion.
so, sorry to get off topic.
No,
That's all right.
very much on special ed. The other end of it, people who are coming out of the education system, aging out, are often candidates for further community services from something like Community Partners, from Easter Seals, which is a contract agency of the New Hampshire State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, which has responsibility for school to work through supported work, through job shadowing, through the ability to pay an employer for a job trial situation, all of things which are identified and built on from the school to work program. So that's the 1,300 vocational programs. Did any further questions? We went left to right. Any questions in particular? Sean, did you
I have
have
a quick
one?
one, just more to clarification. I think you already answered this. The school to work coordinator, that is their full-time job. They don't have any other roles at the schools. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Bob Carrier? Nothing. Okay. Then the straw poll view of the committee on 1,300 vocational programs is Sean.
I'm gonna pass.
Pardon?
I'm gonna pass.
Andy.
You voting on the?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Peg.
Yes.
Tom.
I think I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Bob.
Yes.
Aaron.
No.
Stan.
No.
No.
Dennis.
No.
Chair votes yes. On this one, please, when we come back to it again, have a specific idea in mind, a question or a dollar figure that shows exactly what you would plan to cut. On instructional programs, which would be the 1,400. For anyone from the school board who would wish to speak to that briefly prior to any questions from the budget committee itself. Okay. Any questions from the budget committee, starting to my left? Sean. This would be the other 1,400 other instructional programs, elementary summer school, middle summer school, and the co-curricular, the rest as you turn the page to 7. Bob Carey, do I see a hand?
No.
No, okay. Andy, did you have a question?
No, just, just on 114, 51130, it's the elementary co-curricular salaries. It just went up 7,800. Just can you kind of explain that increase?
There's a chart in the back. We have talked about
Okay.
That little note right under
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah. To do
All right.
after-school programs and such, that's what that covers.
Okay.
The after-school program's really taken off at the school,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
enrollment's.
Okay.
If you
That's good enough.
understand, I had first explained it.
Yeah.
In the rotations, I said five rotations, sounded like it was 5 staff.
Yeah.
But then when we looked at it, we could see that it involved more than that.
That
Okay, I'm all set. Thank you.
That was the question that I could not remember what CBA stood for.
Yeah.
Peg, a question? Tom?
On line, page 7, line 14, 52-110-2, Student Support Center. Is that Support Center Health, or it's like cut off there?
I'm sorry, which line?
52-110-2.
That's health insurance, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's insurance for everybody, so, okay, all right. I was gonna ask why you just decreased the, I thought it was like health center for the kids or something. I was gonna say, wait a minute, why are you decreasing it that much? Okay.
Then, Bob Carrier?
Nothing.
Aaron?
What are co-curricular activities?
Those are activities provided for the students that are not athletic, but of the co-curricular.
Page 37?
Yes.
So it's
It has
like
a list of them.
yearbook advisor, website coordinator, testing coordinator, substitute coordinator, staff development. There's a whole list of them. And I broke it down for each school as well.
Over here. And you know what?
I don't know how much money, but I'm just saying it's true.
Bring that up.
No.
Is that something we can cut?
Does,
All right, thank you.
does looking over that list answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Stan?
I'm gonna go back to page 8. 57.310-2 and 57.350-3. The new equipment, the wall pads in the gym, and the padded scorers table. Can we get creative on that and some kind of raffles or something? Because it just seems like it'd be nice to have, but seems like we could do something to find a different avenue for the revenue.
Community fundraiser.
Something, yeah, I mean.
Raised 80,000 for both, yeah.
I think the concussion aspect that has been prevailing throughout all of the things that students do in terms of sports has really drawn a lot of attention, and I think that the attempt on the part of the athletic director and high school principal was to kind of safeguard students. But on the other hand, I do understand, is there a cheaper way?
Not cheaper, but a different alternate, different option.
Yeah, community fundraising or something.
So it's $5,500 for those items.
It's a total, yeah, $5,500 for both of them, for those 2 lines. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem like an unrealistic amount of money that could be raised somehow, you know.
We're looking at the variance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the additional over last year.
Additional
Yes. We still have the money that was in the previous
Right.
budget to spend, but.
Stan's question, or his conclusion, was you still have additional money in the budget to spend. Nate, is that accurate?
Personally, I don't see why we couldn't
Explain what you mean, couldn't do what?
do the fundraising. Try to figure something out.
Yeah, I mean.
I'll pay.
If that is the explanation of the committee, then we respect what you're saying.
Tom, particularly, these are relatively low dollar items compared to what monies we spent on other stuff before. Would it be possible to, out of the unused balance at the end of the year, take money and buy this equipment?
Is there a warrant article they could?
Yeah, I mean.
But do they, because it would be equipment for the school if they have unused money at the end of the year. Could they use some of that to buy this?
Should they be setting the alarm?
No, they should.
But my suggestion to that is if they do make a trust for that they don't make it just for these specific items. They make, the language would read something for athletic or whatever you choose to put it for, you know, that they can take multiple things over the years out of that.
Yeah, but to use the unused money at the end of the year, does it have to be used in a warrant article? Or could they just say we need,
No, the warrant article, those come first. And then the money after that.
Then they could take whatever's after the warrant articles, if there was any, and apply to this as opposed to turning it back to the town.
Common practice over the years was to return it back to the town. After that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the actuals, Stan. The middle school only has $500 left, and the high school still has $3,700. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they have planned to spend.
Right. I mean, we haven't gone into that avenue of it, what the other balance of the line is represents. But I'm just saying this increase. I mean, the overall, the 1,400 line is down, but I want to see it down more.
You need to bring up your point.
We have a couple of things from the
Bring up
group
your
here
point.
tonight. You raised it. I think you have a good point.
So the pads that they are using now on the stage aren't very secure. So the question is, if a kid dives into that going after a basketball and breaks his neck, that's huge liability for the school.
Everything's a liability.
I know, but I'm just saying that the pads, they're not sufficient now. They're not secured properly. So that's why they're asking for better pads to replace
Okay,
them.
but I'm not saying don't get them. I'm saying find a different way to
I
finance
understand that.
it.
I'm just pointing that out. That's why they're in the budget.
I mean, it's a legitimate concern, obviously. Everybody here all agrees. We want the kids safe. We don't want it on our heads that they get a concussion or, you know, or they wind up in a wheelchair. But the point being, going back to what you're saying let's look at an alternative way to fund it. I just whispered over to Nate, there have been some positions that were unfilled due to not having enough students for the specific team in the fall and the winter, and they have been in the budget. I just said to Nate, can't we utilize some of those funds this year to get that now, or at least get part of that now, so that it would help it for next year. So that might be the way to go, right?
You're not really asking what Stan really asked. I mean, you're.
Oh, he wants us to fundraise. What I'm saying is,
You're still using taxpayer money to make it happen. I'm looking for non-taxpayer money by way of, I mean, how much did they raise for the ball field? You know what I mean?
$80,000.
$80,000. I don't think it'd be too hard to have some kind of a raffle or something that they could raise $5,500 in this town. You know what I mean? For a very, you know, good items that's necessary. You know?
Well,
Okay, Tom.
I guess I'm looking at it a little bit different in that the ball field was something that we didn't have to have for the school. The pads, if you're going to use it again to play basketball, you pretty much got to have the pads, or somebody could get very seriously hurt. That's something I would be more willing to fund that with taxpayer dollars than the ball field. Ball field's optional. I don't see the pads as being an optional thing to buy.
I will tread on Melissa's professional toes for a moment and say, if I were a trial lawyer and I had a tape running that said the school district knew or should have known and should have had constructive knowledge of the danger of improperly secured mat in a game where my client's child was injured, I would thank you for not funding those mats out of public tax dollars, because you put my client's child at risk. How close am I? You may certainly have a raffle, but if you do not, being on record for a pad that may move under impact, it would be short-sighted.
With that said, then why aren't they bought out of this year's budget if they're so critical? Why don't they find the money in this year's budget and make it happen now? If that's yours, what you're coming to the table with, then make it happen this year.
But Stan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard you just say that it should be money that goes back to the taxpayer.
Right, but I'm saying if you're gonna put your cards out and that's what you're playing for a hand, is this is all strictly a liability issue, what it's gonna cost the town if something was to happen, then make it happen now. If that's what,
I was going to say that's exactly what Earl said, and you said it should go back to the town.
Like we're discussing it, you know, I recognize talking about the various options, and now knowing that prior knowledge, I'm not a lawyer, but prior knowledge, if you have prior knowledge that something can happen and it happens, it's not a good situation.
No, and she just brought that up, that they were loose, right?
Well, they've actually put more pads on top of what we normally have. So those are the pads that I'm referring to as being loose.
The horses out.
So if those cards were played, as Larry was saying and as Stan noted, then I would say, as you stated, Earl, find the money in another place, as you stated, and take the $5,600 out.
Yeah, that's what, because, you know, it is what we just said it is. You know, it was something else where we're looking, for, you know, whatever.
And
okay.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay.
What then?
We'll take.
I have one other question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
On the CPR training, is that just for the? I'm sorry. The line is. I'm sorry. It's page 7, 53, 310. Is that for just for the coaches? I know it's very minute.
I'm trying to
page 7 on the very bottom.
Third line up.
well, actually there's for 2 lines up, both of them, high and middle.
Yeah, and that's for the coaches. No, the town.
CPR?
Yeah.
But you have to have that.
No, I understand that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The town has CPR classes through the year for free, just so you know, and you probably didn't know that.
Isn't Johnson a certified CPR? Nate?
Who?
Miss Johnson? Isn't
Yes, she is.
certified?
Yep.
So,
Is
I
that
mean,
for the materials? Is that what the money's for?
I don't know.
but like I said, the fire department has CPR class trainings. I've taken them
I
here,
think they've done it.
and it's totally free.
How often?
Huh?
How often?
Whenever you need it.
And they have the equipment.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's you know, I know it's just I know it's $500, but $500 is $500. So
Money, because there was no money last year.
There was no money in it, so.
No, last year. There is this year.
Yeah, so maybe we just keep on doing what we're doing and just take that out, I guess.
Then, on the actual numbers for the 1400 category, We are looking at a reduction for the fiscal year 19 budget of the cost of replacing the pads, and the expectation is that the school board will be acting presently to find that money in its present budget. Is that a fair statement?
We have the board here.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you have a chance to open the, Peg, are you the, in the absence of Doug, are you the person who called the?
Mm-hmm.
So you
Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you?
Governance.
Governance.
So you called yourself into order before we were on camera, right?
Sure,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
we did.
CPR out also, so that'd be total
Yes.
$6,000.
So
we are,
190, 790, 82 would be the new number.
okay, minus, all right, so it's minus 6,000.
Correct.
So 190, 790.
Okay. Okay, and so that takes care of the, anything that is clear and present a hazard will be addressed proactively by the board, and the budget itself for the ensuing year will not need either the CPR training, which will be available through the town, thank you, or a similar resource, thank you, Andy. That reduces the budget of $196,790.82 by $6,000 to a new total of $190,790.82. And is there anything else that the Budget Committee wishes to do to that number while we are right here? It is 7:35. Okay. Then, straw vote in favor of the new number of 190,000 in heavy change. Sean?
Abstain.
Andy?
Yes.
Peg?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Stan?
I still don't like some of the salary stuff, but yes.
And Dennis?
Yeah.
Okay, so and the chair votes yes, so we have 7 and
801.
8, 0, and 1. Okay, then that takes us to the category of 2120 guidance. We had the discussion of the general salaries and purposes of guidance from last time we met. Is there anything that you wanted from a further description from the board and superintendent, or may I ask for questions, starting with Sean?
Sounds.
And Andy?
Yeah, is the line 51-130, is that like a part-time position?
51.
30
-1.
-3.
2 and 3 are it's one person.
Correct.
2 and 3 is one
It's
person?
One person split up
Part-time.
between the middle and high
Part-time.
school.
What?
Does that person
It's
have
that
another
person.
role?
Okay,
Do you have another role?
Part-time.
okay.
Was that clear? That
I'm under
the-
pressure now.
I got within an arm's length.
I'm not getting
Thank you, Andy.
Help me out here. No, I just had a quick question. I'll pass.
Thank you,
No
Andy.
pressure,
So,
Andy.
did I hear the conclusion of that one correctly, that it's a part-time position and it's roughly that's
No, it's a full-time position.
Oh, it is
but
full-time.
It's one person.
one person, and it is, the salary is, for that person, is 31? Or-
2033.
Okay,
32,000 and some change.
to explain it to you, if you look at the high school guidance salary,
Right,
in the middle school, you could see there that we, 51230-2 51230-3. The middle school guidance counselor, high school guidance counselor, could see reductions of 32,000 and 41,000. What we did is we downsized the guidance department. We had 3 guidance counselors. We had a middle school counselor, a high school counselor, and a part-time a full-time counselor that was halfway paid grant-wise. We had one of the employees leave the district to be closer to home. We seized upon it as an opportunity. We moved the middle school counselor up to the high school counselor, and we took the drug counselor that was half in the grant and made her the other counselor, the middle school counselor. So in essence, from the school budget, we went from 2.5 to 2, and then we still utilized the grant to pay for that half-time one. Now, with that occurring, she's right at the end there, there's a tremendous amount of roles that the new person or the person, if they had stayed in the position, would have to do. So she's a secretary, but at the same time, she does quasi-administrative type of things as well. So therefore, we upgraded the middle school guidance counselor, became the high school guidance counselor, because she was the overall person that was responsible for putting the kids into the classes they had with her experience. And we upgraded the secretary position as well. So we downsized a position, but at the same time upgraded 2 of the existing positions. Did I make myself? So again, less is more. We went with a leaner group, but we got the best people in there that we could, that would do a great job while we paid. It appears, okay, they got raises, yes, but you know, you get what you pay for. If you want to upgrade the position, if you want to go with less staff, you want 3 men to do the job of, you know, cut 1 man, then the 2 guys better work darn hard to get the work done that you had before.
Persons.
Pardon?
Persons.
Persons. Yeah, I got excited.
Thank you, Andy. Peg, question?
No.
Tom? Bob?
Wait, let me,
I wait.
Before we basically had 5, we're down to 3. Sort of.
We had 5.
Guidance counselor.
We had 3. Oh, you mean down at the elementary?
Well, when I count guidance counselors, I see 5.
Oh, I know what it is.
18, I see 5 lines. 19, I see 3 lines for
Because
salary.
they divide the middle school and the high school up.
Okay, so that's why those salaries are significantly less the last budget, and this one they're okay.
Yeah.
But basically, 5 lines for guidance salaries went to 3 lines for guidance salaries. Elementary, middle, and high school.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bob Carrier.
Good.
Aaron? And Stan.
I want to go back to the middle and high guidance secretary. If I heard you correctly, you're saying this one person does both. It doesn't matter who it is, but this one person does both. And don't take this personal. That's almost a $9,000 raise per year.
Correct. We upgraded the position. When we had a reduction in force in terms of the counselors, we upgraded the position.
Okay, is there any more responsibilities involved with the position?
Yes. The whole tech area is something that she had to train for and do. Power school. And that's a very important area. And we had our tech man down here that touched on that before. You know, it's the guts of the whole thing, and when we went
Okay,
down.
so this isn't very clear then, because the way I read this is a secretary's position, all right? And that secretary is making an additional $9,000 a year, and it's a 9-month year, out of the year job, or 12-month? 12 month?
Oh, we extended the time of the position to, that's the board understand. We made it 2 months more than it was before. It became, instead of, right?
Yes.
You know, instead of a 10-month position or whatever the teachers were, it became a 12-month.
Okay.
So there's responsibility was in hand, and 1/5 increase in time was also added. So essentially, it's 20%.
So when did you change it from, to added the extra time? This year, last year, year before?
It's going on now.
All right, so it's going on now.
This year.
So
As
it's,
a result, utilizing the funds we saved by the reduction in force.
all right, so this year is gonna show that line overspent,
Yes, correct.
or both them lines overspent.
Yes.
Yes. But the other will be underspent, am I correct? To the total
Right, but what
pay.
I'm saying here, for clarity purposes,
Correct.
all right.
They can show in there, I don't have the line.
You are correct.
Yes. That,
Yeah, I want to say at one of our regular budget meetings, when I was going through the actual report, I mentioned that we were going to be over in these different lines because of the increases that we gave them. So, yeah, and under in other lines elsewhere.
Dennis, from your end? Okay. That, yeah, one of the things that I have always asked for is that famous 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper giving the budget committee for the previous month the significant changes in the operation of both the town and the school, whether it was the speech pathologist that didn't materialize, whether it was the transmission that went out on the excavator. Still waiting for that, but Stan's point is well taken. My understanding is that this was a change in responsibility and salary that took place at 9/1, and for the bottom line current budget, it represents a reduction in the total cost of operating the guidance department.
I think that's correct, frankly.
Okay.
So I have one question.
Sean.
Stan, Sean, Peg, they're all here.
Yo.
I just have to chuckle at the VHS line. I mean, it's 0, but it's just funny that it's still in there. You guys planning on buying any VHS tapes or actually have a VHS player on premises?
It's virtual high school. Yeah, not an actual VHS.
Oh, okay. You had a bunch of tapes that you're going to put in there? Thank you. That's much better than
The oldies, we'll put the oldies.
Out in my
Nate.
Peg.
You may want to change that line because I knew what it was, but when you mentioned
Soon
that,
enough, it won't be there anymore.
Yeah.
Johnny.
true, because they're not charging anything, but yeah.
If anyone asks, I have a brand new VHS player out in my barn while waiting for a new home. If it comes back, I'll retire. Okay.
Cassette player.
We had questions on page 8. It is a little past 7:45. Questions on page 9. My presumption is that the FICA and retirement and please do the alphabet soup on ACH achievement.
Yes.
Okay, it's not anything other, it's just a short for achievement,
Yep.
ACH period. And books, software, dues, any other question from anyone on total for 2120 for guidance? Okay. And then straw poll of the committee from my left, Sean?
Abstain.
Come on, jump in.
No,
I don't even know why we're even doing this. It doesn't have any weight. That's my point.
Consider yourself not called. We'll start with Andy. Andy, any question?
Or is it a vote? Straw
Yes.
vote.
Peg?
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bob? Aaron? Stan?
No.
Dennis?
Sure, yes.
And Sean?
Abstain.
Still abstain. Okay. So that would be 8, 1, and 1.
No, 7.
7, 1,
I'm sorry. 8 and 1 is 9, and 1 is 9. Yeah, thank you. Then for nurse, we have the collective. We found out last time that the nurse is part of the collective bargaining agreement contract. So I'm turning down to page 10 over. Tom, speak.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Can the middle and high school nurse position be combined? Have one nurse cover both?
It
is?
That's
Oh,
why
okay.
the song.
That's another one. This whole thing is very deceptive.
No,
Because it looks, it's hard to ascertain if there's 2 or 1, because it divides up.
Yeah, I just added the salaries up, so, oh yeah, they probably are combined, aren't they?
Just
Okay.
to
Then
clarify, for
Yeah.
state reporting, it has to be broken up.
Oh, okay.
That's why we have
Yep,
this
okay.
way.
okay.
All right.
Then that, just for conversation, that takes us down to the bottom of the nurse line, and then the standard format questions from any member in order, beginning with Andy.
No.
No, just no question. Okay.
No question.
Peg,
No questions.
Tom. Okay. Bob. Aaron. Stan. Dennis. And Sean.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Didn't abstain from that.
On the
Wasn't a vote.
Like that.
on the total for the 2130 of $153,687.55 on just the straw opinion of the members, beginning with Andy.
Yes.
Peg.
Yes.
Tom. Sure. Bob.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Stan.
No.
Okay. No. Dennis.
Sure.
And Sean.
No.
And no. Okay. Then that would be, and the chair votes yes. That would be 7 yes, 2 no. That takes care of nurse. That brings us down to 2210, the improvement of instruction category, which I have a note here calling it professional development. Does that ring a bell with our discussion from last week? Do you have any questions? Starting with Andy.
No.
No questions, Peg?
Now, I just want to say that that is part of the CBA,
Oh, okay. That is.
just so that everybody knows that we really cannot take that away.
Okay. Then
Not all of
Tom?
it.
Pardon?
Not all of it.
Each teacher under the CBA has, and I cannot remember off the top of my head, but they have so much in the contract for professional development during the year, and we don't budget for the whole amount because they don't all take it. So
Then why would you have the notes of anticipated increase in
that's
participation rather than this is
I-
a hard number?
okay. I'm talking about the tuition, please. The first one, two,
Well, that's why I
three
said
lines.
Not all of it. I'm saying not all of that whole chapter there.
Right, but we were talking about the tuition, so I just wanted to add that that was part of the CBA, and the entire amount is not budgeted.
So,
The conferences are a different story.
then on the 2210 line, Stan's early question and Peg's response question, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, covers tuition down to line 52 for 400. Tom, did you have a question? No. Bob?
No.
Aaron?
No.
And Stan, did you want to follow up in terms of conferences?
I'm gonna go back to what I said last week. I mean, if that extra $1,000 is gonna cover it, why not just stay level funded? I mean, that's just my 2 cents.
You know what? Nate just kind of mouthed to me. I forgot the conferences also our workshops are also part of the CBA. So each teacher is entitled to $300. So.
Did we have a I'm sorry.
No.
Did you all have a chance to ask the question? Down to
I have one
Dennis,
question,
Sean?
So, how much would each teacher get per year if they continue their education, so they go for their master's or whatever? Is there a certain amount that each teacher would get to go towards it?
That's not this line though, Sean.
The elementary tuition,
yes.
Tuition, high tuition?
Is it for the conferences though?
No, I'm referring to the tuition.
Oh, okay, you're
Sorry,
back to tuition. Okay.
It's the equivalent to, I believe it was 3 credits at the UNH rate.
Okay. And
I believe it worked out to be about $3,000.
So let's assume that someone takes 6 credits. Would they be able to the following year get a reimbursement for those 6 credits?
No.
So they're allowed one 3 credit.
Yep.
More
And then next year they're allowed another 3.
Yep.
But they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be retro.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Then, a question of my own. Did we discuss last time out, I think I asked if this was similar to your need to budget for a certain number of full health insurance policies because you had to be prepared for someone to switch health insurance, so you had to be prepared for a certain increase in participation.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you. Okay. Any other question from anyone on 2210? Tom?
When I understand the need to budget for, okay, if people are going to take the classes, you know, whatever, but historically looking back, especially for elementary and middle school, middle school, it looks like maybe somebody needs to have to talk to the teachers because nobody's hardly using that. And the elementary school was basically, fiscal year 17 was half of what was budgeted, essentially.
It's probably a good reason.
If they have their degrees, that may be why they're not using it in
Okay.
middle school, is what I would say.
And if that's the case, then I would think that you could reduce the line. If, like I said, just looking here, it looks like to me that we could safely cut that middle school line in half to 6,000. You still got money budgeted to cover if somebody decides to take a class. Now granted, if all your middle school teachers decide to take a class, yeah, you're not. But even at $12,000, you're not covered. I don't believe. Not at so I'm wondering if there isn't a little bit of room to move on those lines. Maybe 4,000 out of elementary and 6,000 out of middle school. High school might be a little more problematic because 2 years ago they used 14,000 of it. And then there's still money there if people decide to use it, but it's perhaps a more realistic look at what's been used in the past. Or, like I said, maybe have a talk with the teachers and tell them, come on, use this benefit, show the budget committee you're actually using it.
And if they don't need to go, because they're already certified or whatever,
Yeah.
they don't go, they don't need to go.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. They're probably, in that, like I said, as the people leaving, we're hiring younger ones that are step 3 or less, or step 0. I wonder that there's a greater likelihood that the new ones will take some courses, but there's a long way between 0, what was used in 12, and we're only talking about 2 or 3 new ones a year. So I think that would be a discussion, with whatever the board and the committee are feeling, but what is the comfort
this is within its category, the $52,000 is the bottom line amount, and there's no contractual obligation to provide separately for elementary versus middle versus high. It's a lump sum pot.
Nate, have you gotten any requests?
For
Anyone taking classes?
Tuition reimbursement. How many
Do
this
we
year?
have anyone for middle school taking?
For middle school, I don't know off the top of my head. I do know elementary is.
Because the figure versus of Stan, as Stan would say, of use versus total is a significant difference. Even with 5,000 off, you're down to 47, which is a full roughly 10,000 over use. No, 20,000 over use.
Well, last year you only used 17,000.
That's I did my math wrong. I have that tally.
So, I mean, realistically, we could cut that budget.
I'm thinking,
But-
I was thinking,
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, 10. Thinking cut middle tuition in half and take 4,000 out of elementary. That still leaves well over what they spent, but if you're hiring younger elementary school teachers, there's still money for, allocated in the budget. And it sounds like the CBA, the way the CBA is arranged, that if everybody decided to go back to school and take a class, the school's going to put up money for it because it's in the contract. So, but I'm thinking here, just for the purposes of the budget, it looks like 10,000 could come out with very little impact in this.
Did you feel strongly enough about that, and do you have a sense that?
Well, I'm just looking at the school board and just wondering how they're feeling.
I think
And
that
can we have a
she just
consensus
said
from the?
something, Laura just
So if we took
said the same thing.
brought elementary down to 10,000 and cut middle school to 6,000, that'd be 10,000.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
That's the same thing we
Agree.
thought.
Yep.
We agree to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Could you say that again?
Bob Carrier.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, I'm sorry. I didn't
Elementary
mean
would be 10,000, and then middle school would be down to 6, so a total of
Yeah.
10,000.
Well, I'm looking at the report that I got today on elementary. You spent 10,589 to date. You still want to make it drop that?
True. Yep.
This is the
Yeah.
report. Elementary, they spent 10,589.
Okay, so maybe make that
12.
12,
little.
12 is on tuition. Nothing's there. Nothing's been taken out of
yeah.
it.
But
And middle still has.
But it
the
doesn't matter
12.
what you take it out of. I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's
Yeah, that's
it's bottom line.
Yeah.
So-
Have anything out of middle?
So they could take the money from the high or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I'd say leave it at 10, I think.
I
10 and
would.
6. And because you can always move the money around, it's
You could actually go 12, 6, 13.
okay, yeah.
12, 6, 13.
Yeah, that gives get you
We're still
10,000.
going to 10.
Okay.
That way there's less of a likelihood
Then,
of it.
Uh,
Okay, so we're all in agreement with that?
12,
That-
6, and
yeah.
10?
So then if I'm
School
following,
board?
6 and 13.
That was
Yeah.
13.
if I'm following the budget committee's conversation, then there is a motion from Tom?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
Motion from Tom.
Reduce that line by
On
10,000.
line 2210, by $2,000 in elementary tuition, by $6,000 in middle tuition, and by $3,000.
2,000. 2,000 in the high. It's a total of 10.
Oh.
So it's going to be 12, 6, and 13, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
that's,
Correct.
yeah, and reducing the 15 by 2, bringing it down to 13, giving a total for 2210 improvement of instruction of $42,000 even. Is there a second?
Second.
So, I heard Stan first. Then we'll take this one on a formal vote. Be a roll call, starting to my left with Sean.
Yes.
Okay, Andy.
Yes.
Peg.
Yes.
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He's outside.
Oh. Okay. Chair votes yes.
He gave me his proxy, he
Vote,
votes yes.
vote 8-0 with, if the secretary wishes, with the probable agreement of Ennis, who was not here for when the motion was made and cannot vote. Okay. Certainly, that's what the regs say. That brings us to the library, which would be line 2220. We have do I remember correctly that the library salaries come under the collective bargaining agreement?
Yes.
And so that on page 10, dental, life, health, over on page 11, life, disability, FICA, retirement, professional development, is that a line which is negotiable? Or
Which one?
Is that CBA? Is that contract?
You were going so fast. Which one?
I'm down on middle
Professional
page
development?
11.
53-220, it looks like.
Yes.
53-220-1, professional
Yes.
development.
Yes.
Contract?
Yes.
Okay.
CBA.
And repairs to the librarian.
That's covered under health insurance.
Very good, Tom, thank you. Repairs, supplies, and the rest. So, anyway, that's a brief review. Questions from anyone on the board in order, starting with Andy?
No, it's down 30,000, so I have no questions.
Peg?
No questions.
Tom?
I don't think I have any questions.
Bob?
Okay.
Aaron? Stan?
All set.
And Dennis is good. Do I remember, I believe the superintendent said that this also represented a restructuring of the position by a higher paid person leaving and a junior coming on board.
Precisely.
Okay.
We reduced our own.
Okay.
We promoted
Precisely.
from within, trained our own new one, and that's another example, as you see the common thread through here, whether it's the staff in the classroom, guidance department, librarian, less is more, a leaner staff, but there is some changes in compensation for those that we want to retain and attract. So that basically, I know the committee agrees with the part where we cut them, but not necessarily is agreeing with the pay increases.
Okay. Sean, did you have a question, comment?
No questions.
Okay. Do we have the straw vote agreement on this one? Just Sean?
Is this a straw vote?
Yeah, just straw vote.
Yes.
Okay. Andy?
Yes.
Peg?
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah.
Bob?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Dennis? Chair, yes.
What was that the Stan
Yeah,
said?
I was gonna say, yeah, you know how to say yes.
Can we tape that one?
It's on tape right now. But wait till the end, that's the one that really counts.
Okay.
But you're on the right road.
That was the
Either that or one hiccup.
the library account was for a total of $151,622.52. That brings us to the school board itself, where we have salaries, the moderator, treasurer, and the board secretary. And over on the page 12, we have the district clerk, elected officers, FICA, professional development, legal services, auditor, advertising. You can read that as easily as I. Does anyone on the committee have a question on the categories for the 2310 school board category?
I do.
Andy?
Okay. You know, with no due respect, I you know, I'm a selectman in town, and I talk to a lot of people, and the taxpayers are hurting. And with no due respect to the financial manager or the office employees, I cannot give between these two lines a $10,000 raise.
Well,
That's in the SAU, we're in the school board.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bottom of the school board.
okay.
However,
My bad. At least you know where you stand when I get there. At least you know where I stand when I get there. So I'm ahead here. No, I have no questions on that one.
but Andy, well said, write that one down.
Don't forget it.
We'll come back. Sean, Peg,
So,
Tom?
just my question, so, the school board, like the members are on this desk, they get a salary, is that how it works?
Stipend.
Stipend,
Yeah.
better way to look at it, okay, thank you.
Not like us.
Okay. Technically, Sean's point well taken, should the phrase salary be replaced for stipend? Words exist to be different.
Well, let me see something here.
But I'm turning from page 11 over to the variety of topics, the 2/3 of page 12, where I have for the administrative costs of the school board itself, $53,485.10. Is, I think I got as far as Peg. Tom, did you have a question?
I do. I probably asked this question last year, and I don't remember the answer. Why is it that there's 2 lines for school board salary, 2 lines for moderator, treasurer, so on and so forth, down through this item?
Split up between the schools?
Yep. State requirements again.
Okay,
You-
okay, all right.
You know that the TAC 1s and the TAC 2s are the different schools.
Okay, all right.
TAC 1 is elementary and TAC 2 is
Okay,
middle
all
high.
right, gotcha. And again, I'll probably ask this question again next year.
We'll
Let you know.
We'll answer it again.
Just write that one down.
Any question on the definitions of legal service, auditor, advertising, district reports, and dues and expenses? If any to my right, Aaron? Okay, and Stan?
No.
And Dennis?
Just a real quick question on advertising. $735 and $646. I understand it's level funded, but what are you advertising for?
Public hearings, right?
Positions.
Public hearings, positions, those are the biggest ones.
Did you put something in Foster's later?
No,
Oh my God, it's terrible.
It is.
I have to admit that line probably isn't, I mean, the advertising isn't off. It's not off,
Okay.
Dennis. It's probably, it costs a lot of money to put stuff in Foster's, so.
Okay.
The actual for 2017, you know, I mean,
But right now, we are to 600, 560 and 960, so we've spent most of it already.
Then, for the 2310 school board total, we have a figure of $53,485.10 on the straw vote opinion of the committee. Beginning with Andy.
Yes.
Peg.
Yes.
Tom.
I'm going to stay out of this one.
Abstain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Aaron?
Yes.
Thank you. Stan?
yes.
Dennis?
Mm-hmm.
Chair votes aye. And Sean?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it, I'm done.
That would be 8 in favor, 1 abstention. Okay.
Now, what were you saying, Andy?
Now,
Ooh.
All right, Andy gets the spotlight now.
Andy, we will start the discussion on 2320 with you reviewing the salaries for the SAU expense itself.
Mm-hmm.
You're on.
Okay. No, as I stated before, you know, a $4,800 raise in 1 year is quite substantial. in a $6,300 raise. I mean, explain it.
I said the line is still down.
The $6,400 is two people, just for clarity.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just
But, yeah, no.
clarity, that's all.
But
I think as was said last time, if you look at it over the 3 or 4 year perspectives, and you look at what area schools pay for that position, that if you compare what the school business official makes here compared to other schools, it's considerably not as
All right.
high.
Well,
I'm sorry.
my point is, most, probably 90% of town employees got a 2% merit raise and a 1% COLA. And that's where I'm at with it. You know, it is what it is. It's just, like I said, you know, the town is hurting. And it just cannot be taking these huge, you know, a $5,000 raise in 1 year, especially when the financial manager is already making $65,000. So that's where I'm at.
I tend to agree.
Can I ask a question? Stan just explained why there, because I'm new here. Stan explained why there was no previous data is because of the SAU split, but there has to be something. What was the salary prior to?
The salary for the guy I replaced was making $85,000 a year, almost 90 when he left.
And that was for the combined district, though.
Yep.
For Wakefield and,
Yep.
and we paid 40% of that, was it?
Mm-hmm.
57. No, 43.
43%.
I heard.
43.7.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So the town, Andy, just to clarify, if I remember correctly, a 2% and then a 1%.
1.7.
1.7 COLA.
Right.
And
So it was a
2%.
3.7
Correct.
total. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for those that are interested, that's like $2,400, $2,405.
Why am I
Right.
getting 89,000 here?
I want you to do the math when I get my raise.
Okay, we're slightly out of pattern. Andy had the question. Peg had the comment. We had a good side question. Tom, you're up.
I noticed the life insurance line 52,130 has taken a nosedive. Is that accurate, or are people just not as many employees, or?
You did away with one secretary, correct?
Yeah, not as many employees.
Okay.
Because when we had it, we had a curriculum coordinator, we had a student services director.
Okay, it's just,
We had another secretarial position, but a student services director assistant. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, we cut 4 positions.
Okay, that just seemed to be the only line that went down.
Right, the
That
rest
was
are-
salary related, it looked like.
Yeah.
That's the reason for my question is that it and maybe people that are there in those positions aren't taking life insurance. I don't know.
Then,
But
Bob, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
No, that's all. I just wanted to make sure that we had the right number here and that it wasn't going to come out. Oh, that should have been $500 instead of 110.
Generally, the people themselves, though they have left, are still alive.
I'm not paying for dead people.
But, okay, Bob Carrier.
I got just a comment on that financial manager's salary. There's a lot more to it than just what you see here. There's grants he has to handle, and there's also reimbursements that he has to keep track of. There's a lot to this. It's more than a bookkeeper has to do. There's more to it. I follow some of the stuff he does. If you look at your grant page, he has the money coming in, he has to place it there. Then when it goes out, he has to go now to get reimbursed for it. There's more to this thing than just what you see in this book.
With
It's a
all due
lot
respect,
more.
Bob,
Huh?
I said, with all due respect, my understanding is the financial director is in what, your first, second year here?
This will be my fourth.
Or fourth,
Oh, my
okay.
fourth.
As his position?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I thought it was, yeah, you're at your second year and you're asking for $4,000, more, but I'm saying.
I mean,
Last year, he took a substantial cut. I mean, I think it's this year that you took quite a cut.
Do we still have that paper that we had that had the red writing on it that showed his additional roles that he took
I
on?
don't have it here, but I do have it.
When we eliminated the SAU and got rid of a couple positions, I think you took on.
My tasks went from 25 to 70.
Yeah.
And they're all listed.
And that's all the ones I
They're
can
all
think
on
of.
the list.
Well, see, that's the things that we should know about A and the public should know about B. Because you look at this line, you're just looking at this. You're not looking at any clarity of what it represents.
I mean, between our bookkeeper and our financial advisor on the town side, between both of those, with this one position is being paid more. Just throwing it out there.
But just to throw something out, you're complaining about, and I'm not saying I'm supporting this one or not, I'm just making a data statement. You're saying $4,870 increase. Isn't that what our DPW director just got just about?
That was on a warrant article,
Point being, isn't that what he just got?
but it was on a warrant article, and the people voted for it, Stan.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
No, someone who is just saying either takes ownership of what they said or not say it.
And I did.
Okay, both
It
sides.
was on a warrant article.
That is good information.
I didn't give it to him.
Gently.
No, I'm just stating a fact.
I'm just going apples for apples, that's all I'm doing.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying what's right or wrong.
I'm stating a fact. I did not give him the raise.
We're having
the people of this town
we're
did.
having apples for argument. I do not like it. Thank you. We have from the school district side a list of the increased responsibilities and tasks assigned to the business manager. From the town side, we have the duties of the part-time financial clerk, and we have the overall direction of the financial service manager, which is Joanne Smith. And those two together come out to be less than Nate's salary. I would suggest that Nate's responsibility for the number of tasks that he has, the way it has to relate to grants and the federal and state government, are more time-consuming and much closer to the skill zone of Joanne than just scaling up Vanessa's competence, whom I enjoy working with every time the library hands in a timesheet. So
That's a matter of your opinion, but that's fine.
That is meant to be complementary to the skill sets
I
of all.
think I'm very grateful that Paul, as we're having this discussion, brought that up, because I think, I keep reiterating, the guidance department, when we spoke about that there's reductions in force in each of these areas. And like I had indicated, we went from food services, curriculum, an extra person doing the business stuff, 4 people. Guidance, we went down a person. So I think that would have been helpful if you had that list of duties. You know, that the...
Well, my next suggestion was going to be is, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, is just a quick question. My assumption is we're not going to get this done tonight. We're going to have to revisit everything and come back again and finish it up, plus the warrant articles. Can we jump over this, get the list of his duties, so we can see what it represents? Because what do you say, you went from how many to how many?
I went from 25
duties
to 70.
70.
That excellent point.
And I would be more than happy to share it.
And some of the responsibilities, I'm sure.
Well, that's,
Mr. Chair?
Peg?
Just, I think the other thing would be for the 2 office employees, because their duties went from maybe 25 to
We have it all.
300. Yeah,
We
yeah.
have it all.
the explanation of why
Yeah.
there's such an increase.
Yeah, even though we split, but as Earl was saying, people were gone, we reduced, but we had to combine responsibilities, basically. So,
Again, I like Stan's suggestion. I have been watching the clock, even put my watch in front of me. We have a half hour, 35 minutes left. I do not plan to go beyond 9 p.m. This evening, because we cannot finish these and also pay attention to the warrants. Let us, I think I hear agreement that you want to just move past the SAU expense and just leave it with a question mark and an undone asterisk, and move from that. Are you comfortable moving to the office of principal?
I am.
For, again, from past conversations regarding how different people have moved into the slots, their competence, are you still using the word vita? Their academic background and experience. From that same pattern, I'll begin with Andy. Do you wish to have a question for the office of principal?
Yeah, so is this middle school principal salary, I know of course I'm gonna ask, the high school principal salary, just explain to me why the increases are so much.
Without getting into the personal, again, we're speaking about the nature of the position, the amount of responsibility of the position, and also we're talking about a total compensation package. When you look at what you had as an employee, you look at their health insurance, you look at the various compensation levels we had before we talked about what a person gets paid when they teach, $42,000, $72,000 for the complete employee. If you look at the whole composite of what we were paying for middle high school principal before and middle high school principal now, when you look at the total compensation package, without getting into personal aspects of the folks involved, it's a lot closer than what it appears. Also, without getting into we had to be competitive in terms of the position. We had the community student a shared decision-making group that went out and went to the various schools of the 3 people involved. And again, as we're hiring these people, we had complete enthusiasm upon the committee for the right person for the position, and in order to move the district ahead, we had to get a competitive wage, and we looked at the total compensation package, and there didn't appear to be an extreme amount of change, and we were taking people's time up to come there X amount of nights to make a decision on who they wanted. We went out to the sites of the person. They enthusiastically supported the person that we chose, and in order to secure them, we had to do what it took to secure them.
Mr. Chairman, but with that said, and I'm glad you looked at the overall out of the box, what the whole thing's gonna cost, with the benefits and everything. But that benefits can change in a matter of 30 seconds. They can decide they want more benefits and they're gonna have them, as far as health plan and so forth. So that can come into the play, part of the equation real quick.
Absolutely. I'm not, but we're looking at the existence of what we have, and we're looking at the cost, so I'm indicating, let's look at the total compensation and not just the pay that the person receives. But you're correct, Stan, it could change in a heartbeat, person's life.
So we have a middle school principal?
Same as a high school.
High school,
Oh,
it's the
so
same
they're
person.
same jobs?
Same thing.
So you gotta
It's
add,
the 1,
so
2, and 3.
Add 'em up.
you gotta add them up.
Yep.
2 and 3.
And they've got that broken out on page 23 of the package, Randy.
Yeah, okay.
And again, their retirement state mandated, you have no control, is that correct?
But what we do have control possibly in the future, as future CBAs, is the contribution towards the health insurance, correct?
Correct.
And then contract runs out when?
Next,
19.
next year is year 2. So it runs
Next
out
year will
after
be
next
So
year.
a 2-year contract.
We'll actually be negotiating in July and August.
Right now, they pay on their health rate, 10. What are they paying on health rate? Contributing on 10?
And
10 for a single and 20% for
Yeah.
a two-person and a family. With a
They
cap.
contribute.
They
It's
pay,
with a cap,
their
yes.
contribution is 10%? Their
For a single.
contribution, is that what you said, for a single, and 20% for 2 or a family?
Yeah, but it's capped at 10,000, 16,000, and 21,500.
I'm sorry, the cap that they themselves pay, or the cap that the district provides?
The district.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. That, Andy, you have the floor for questions on Office of Principal.
No, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just, the town is tapped. And we're talking, the principal's making close to $100,000. I'm sorry?
93.
All right, $93,000. That's, plus, you gotta add benefits onto that.
132.
And now you're looking to give her a $17,000 raise.
what?
Between the two figures, 11,000 and 7?
That's
It's
replaced.
Totally
It's a new
different.
person.
New person. Career left.
Yeah, I
That
understand
was
that.
the old salary.
Right.
And that was what we budgeted based on the old
But it's
salary
still
this year.
17,000 more taxpayer dollars.
Right.
No matter how you come to it.
No, I agree with that, but it's just, she did not, that person did not get a $17,000 raise.
Right.
That position did. Let's put it there.
Yes.
Those 2 positions.
Yes.
It's like 200 students. I have no more.
So the middle and high school principal secretary salary, I imagine that's the same person as well?
It's more than one.
It's split, it's 1.5. Split between the two.
The other half hasn't shown up yet. They don't worry.
Gene split. Yeah, I just see one's 59% increase.
If I were not laughing, I would chastise you severely. But, I'm sorry, Andy?
She's not laughing, though, look. She's got daggers at me.
That more seriously, it is one of the difficulties when you're dealing with a state mandate for assignment of salary costs. It is hard to follow coming up with the real totals of what people with the phrase boots on the ground are actually doing for the students in the classroom. Andy, did that answer your question? Sean, you are at the head of the line.
I'm good.
You had a question of your own.
Yeah, I was mentioning the increases in those two, middle principal secretary's salary and high principal secretary's salary, I imagine. The 59 and 64%, is that similar to Nate's, where there's a lot more responsibilities in that position for that increase?
I think what you have is the bus drivers, the parents, secretaries.
Gotcha, so when they came up, you gotta kind of make everyone...
Precisely.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's also, if I may, that halftime position was new.
Okay, thanks, Nate. Yeah, I just wanted, for the 4 people that might watch this on TV, just to kind of make it clear, if they look at the spreadsheets and they're like, wow, 60%, like what's going on here?
That was very good clarity on that.
Thank you, Sean. Peg, do you want to mention anything in passing? Tom?
No, I have nothing.
Yeah. A couple of things. One, I see there's a line 51 140-1 and 51 13 51 141-1. You got an elementary principal secretary and an elementary principal office assistant, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Is the elementary principal's office that busy? You've had to have 2?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you, following up on Tom, can you list some tasks that would define where the secretary is and what the office assistant does? As for example, students reporting in sick, preparation of materials photocopied for classroom use. That would be more the assistant than the secretary. Or you tell me.
I think it depends upon how the principal displays it. That's the day-to-day operation of the school, and one knows, it is what it, it is what it is. You gotta make sure the little ones are on school bus, on the school bus, and all of those very important things dealing with the everyday events that go on in the school.
So, I'm sorry, so this would be more of a cross-training and integration rather than a pecking order of title?
Precisely.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Sean?
I don't think I asked that question.
I'm sorry, Tom.
I think that was me.
Whoever asked the question.
He really wants you involved in this.
Yeah.
Brings people together.
Yeah. I think it answers that question.
Okay. Next.
Just a comment here, excluding the sentence, it's kind of rounded up a little bit. For the elementary school alone, for the administration stuff, basically, the office of the principal for the elementary school, we're spending next to $300,000 for less than, about 200 odd kids, 230 kids, 150 kids, 257.
58.
That's
I
$6,000 a
think
kid.
it's right in the book.
Yeah, I think it was 257, and three next thing to $300,000 for administrative stuff in the office of the principal for 257 kids. That just throwing it out there. I'm not sure what to do with it. I'm just that's a large chunk of money.
I agree.
Like I said, I don't know what to do with it. It's just trying to make sense out of numbers and where all the money goes.
Bob Carrier?
Nothing.
Aaron? Stan?
All set?
I have a comment. I have a comment. It doesn't happen often, but I totally concur with what Andy's been saying. Whether these numbers are justifiable.
Raise the flag.
Or what, huh?
Raise the flag.
I know, right? Whether these numbers are justifiable, equitable, fair. I think the town has come to the point where it doesn't really matter. People are against the wall. And I'm trying like crazy to figure out where we can shave $100 here, $100 there, but the end game is, it doesn't matter because, like I said, the town is already up against the wall. People are getting desperate, people are getting upset, people are getting desperate, plain and simple. I totally agree with Andy on this.
Any other comment? Same pattern on the office of principal, just for straw vote feeling of the committee. Andy, in favor of the number of 662, 639, 905?
Nay.
Okay. Peg?
Yes.
Tom?
No.
Bob?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Stan?
No.
Dennis?
No.
Chair votes yes. So there is,
What about our friend
Sean.
down here?
I'm
Sean.
sorry, Sean, I should not have stopped
It's getting late.
starting with you.
No.
No, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to 3. The committee is not happy with the total for the office of principal. Next, we have 29. I would like to have just 10 minutes or less at the end to figure out when we're next meeting, whether or not we can add the selectmen on to the discussion of warrants at our next meeting. I believe there's already.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Your warrant articles that they're
Town
ready.
warrant articles, he wants to know if they're ready.
No.
No, okay, forgot I said that. 2610 operation and maintenance. We had the discussion in terms of the need to upgrade the salaries of the custodians from our last time. We were down at $8.90 plus or minus. So those first couple of lines speak to that. Then we deal with the substitutes, overtime, health, and Andy, do you wish to have a question or comment on that?
No, I mean, just in the future, you know, we gotta better prepare ourselves for these substantial raises. I understand they deserve it, because I've looked to see what these folks make. And like you said, you could go down to Cumberland Farms and probably make the same money. So, or better money. I'm not arguing the point that, to keep good help, it comes with a price. But moving forward, just, we gotta better prepare ourselves so, the taxpayer doesn't get hit all at once. Really, that's all I'm saying. Is, they deserve probably a raise, because I know they're not making that much money. So that's really all I have to say on that.
I have a question. How many people this represents? I'm sure there's a page somewhere.
Yeah,
On
there's a
the
list of
operation and
that.
maintenance,
Yeah.
on my notes, on 51-110-1 is 3 people.
Okay.
Next line down is 3.5 people.
0.6.
So apparently someone happened not showing up again.
That's
So-
the other half of the other one.
Oh.
I believe it's
Show
actually.
me how to do that.
I was given a 0.6. Do the math. Anyway, Sean or Peg, question? Tom, Bob, Aaron, Stan,
Well, I'm just figuring out,
Dennis. Oh, okay.
so if you go down to the 51-110-2, the 3.5 position, that increase is $55.06 per person.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
$5,506.80 per person. If you take that 19,273.80, divide it by 3.5, all right? It's simple math. It isn't 100%, correct, but it's like $5,500 a person increase.
Stan, if you're interested, it's 19.3%, and the one above it's 19.67%.
Okay.
So that's a substantial increase.
It is, but not to interrupt, I'm trying to find the page what they're making.
And what they were, we don't have what they were making.
You don't have what they
which
were
is-
making?
It's what they're making now, but.
Not a lot. You're right.
Nate,
What
can you-
page? 27?
27.
From memory, or the percentage increase given versus what you may remember of salaries as they were.
Give me a second, I can tell you exactly.
Oh,
Okay, you did have it. All right. Because I believe their hourly rate starting was 8-something. 867 or
897 was the starting rate.
897, okay.
For custodians.
Yes.
If you look on page 22, it's showing what their hourly rate is now.
Already 27 has it broken down.
But
By
the
state.
actual person,
Right.
Okay.
the actual person's hourly rate and how long they've been here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are at least 11 years. 5 of them are 11 years or more. And one of the 11-year employees is making $13.80. So that kind of tells you.
So, I'm sorry, for looking at page 27, where it says step, it refers to the number of years they've been here.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Peg. Yes.
No, I was just going to say that custodians are just like bus drivers in the state right now. Everybody is looking for them, and we have a good staff. I mean, they are consistent. They come in, they do what they need to do.
And then some.
And then,
They
yeah,
do
and then
snow
some,
blowing, snow
but,
plowing.
yeah.
I'm not plowing, but maintenance and shoveling
Yeah.
and sanding and.
But anyway, if you drive south of here, you're going to see bus drivers wanted, custodians wanted. And if we were still just paying them $8.97, we'd be losing them. So again, retention cuts down on breakage, on training, on all sorts of things. So
The line 2610 travels all the way down page 16 and ends at the top of page 17. It includes the repair of buildings, some phone, it includes the electricity, the utilities, and the new equipment and some dues. How far did I get? And anybody wanted to ask a question? I'm getting tired. I'll just throw it open. Any other questions by anyone on the committee for this topic? The discussion has been on the new hourly rate salary, which starts out at $11.02. A figure was given of $8.97 for an earlier beginning salary. So you'll see how after roughly 10 years of service, you would be getting up to, with a shift differential, you would be almost at $14 an
Just for clarity, that's a 12-month-a-year job?
Yes.
So, any other questions on operation and maintenance? Again, on the straw.
Yeah, I still think there's cheaper alternatives than a power lawn leaf vacuum. Just leave it at that. Wouldn't the leaf vacuum dealio?
Would
2700.
Would Milton Small Engine Repair wish to speak to that?
As long as people know what this thing is, because I've talked to 2 people in town, so I can't believe you're paying that much money for a backpack blower. So if
Put
you
it on
don't know
record.
what it is, all the people on the Facebook that apparently are all
Not
excited
Facebook.
about this thing,
Yeah, they're all.
I'd like to address them directly in these chairs. Does everybody here know what this thing is?
Yes.
Neither
Yes.
here nor there for me on this thing.
It's like low.
Would you?
It is a tow behind,
Like low.
giant covered canvas trailer thing with its own separate engine that you hook to the blade, to the discharge chute of the mower. And as you drive, it basically completely cleans everything, takes up all the leaves, acorns, all that stuff, shreds it and puts it into the hopper.
Okay.
It's not a backpack, but you actually tow it behind your mower.
Right.
And I guess the
I'm
town
full
was
of
looking,
belt.
the town was looking
Look
for
at your
one as
belt.
well. I guess the town had one.
And you're going to use this, you're going to use this on the new field?
To vacuum up all the leaves in both schools, all the leaves, all the property in the fall time, as well as so it doesn't leave clippings all over the softball field.
And
That's what Bob has reported to me and
Right.
was reporting.
May I throw the softball up into the air gently? For the question is, and will this permit you to take better care of the very expensive lawn that has been put in?
And there's,
Well,
and there's
of course, I
cheaper
mean,
alternatives to do that,
Of
Chairman.
course, I'm gonna say yes to that, but there are other ways to do it.
Okay.
Just saying.
You know what I mean? You can just get out there and you can, use your faculty to rake leaves.
So
I mean,
we're-
there's always other ways.
So, I mean, I have, in my house, and I actually take care, I have 2 acres, I usually do my neighbor's house, so they're elderly. There's a sweeper that I use that works on my ball field in my backyard, and it works great. Picking up acorns. Usually what I do is I shred the leaves, pick it up with the rake, dump that stuff into a compost pile, and I got free stuff for our garden. It's
How many hours of manpower would it save as well? We're looking at having someone out there for 4 hours doing everything, or having somebody out there for an hour. We're paying somebody an hourly rate.
right, but my point is, it would do the exact same job for much, much cheaper.
Can we borrow the towns if they get approved? How about that?
Well, actually, we don't have one.
My personal opinion on this,
Is
if
it
you
in
don't,
your budget this year though?
No, a zero-turn mower is to mow all the, I know we're not talking about the town budget, but that's what's in the budget.
I just don't want the first 2 lines getting screwed with. Salaries. If people don't, I don't want the salaries to get messed up. My opinion's moot on the leaf clipper. You know, as long as we're not messing with people's livelihoods, care less about the clipper.
Duly noted.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Thank you each for the points. Any other discussion on this topic? That would be the on line 2610 operation and
School board offering to take that out?
well, that's
Why don't we get some closure so we get some things filled out? Are you asking us that, Stan?
I'm not asking, I'm not trying to see where you stand on it.
that is.
I mean, he doesn't have anywhere else in his budget to purchase something like that?
I mean, buildings and maintenance, that's all part of repairs and things of that sort, right? I mean, capital purchases or things, I mean, besides a warrant article on it, but I said no warrant articles.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he could find that in his budget.
There's a lot of things tonight we're apparently gonna find in our budget somewhere.
Well, the other issue is supposedly a safety issue.
Okay.
Saying a safety
No
issue.
offense to that, obviously, I'm just.
The question I was getting to is the question that's being raised around the table. We have a figure of $807,039.77. We have a discussion on the operation, maintenance of new equipment. We have the comment from Paul that he is concerned primarily to making sure that the custodians who do the work on whatever equipment is out there are protected as job one. The question is, does the committee wish to make a different figure and ask the school district to agree to it? What is your preference? What is your pleasure?
Well, Mr. Chairman, for clarity for the minutes, I think we ought to put in there that this line is $7,088.76 less than the 2018 budget. Correct?
Thank you.
Correct.
Yes.
So I'm not saying I'm supporting either or fighting it, I'm just saying for clarity, for people watching that don't have this info in front of them.
Because of the modular lease, right?
Okay. Then, does someone wish to make a motion different than my straw vote question? If you make a motion, you have a different figure and you want to put in a different figure than $807,039.77.
I have a quick question.
Sean.
These straw votes aren't preventing us from coming back later?
No.
Okay.
We have met a half hour before the public hearing. And so.
I have a motion, I could make a motion.
Andy.
To move this along. I'll make a motion to leave the budget at $807,039.77.
Well, motion for that, just the straw vote.
All right, that's my straw vote.
We'll do the straw vote on that. We can, I will put a.
That's my straw motion.
I will put a question, then I will offer a straw second and just say, from my left, Sean?
No.
Okay, and Andy?
Yes.
Peg?
Yes.
Tom? No. No. Bob? Aaron?
No.
Stan?
No.
Dennis?
No.
And Chair votes yes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, 4 no. That is enough.
5 no.
I think it was the other way around.
5 no, 4 yes.
5 no, 4
Yep,
yes.
4 yes, 5 no.
Then is there a motion? Is there a formal motion to offer a different figure?
I have one too.
Again, I'm gonna make sure I'm clear on this. We can reduce this at a later time when we.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
But you have then the
Chair, yeah.
Peg was up first.
Yeah, we're just down to the summary time for what we do next. Peg.
Okay, I just want to say that if people next time want to take away this Power-On leaf backpack, no, I know.
We just went through this.
I know. I do believe that we need, as a school board, to discuss that. Okay, just saying.
Well, normally what will happen is, at the end of if this passes, the end, or it doesn't pass. If it doesn't pass, then usually the school board asks, what are we kind of looking for monetarily? And then you guys can go back and say, okay, we'll take this out, we'll take that out, you know, and then if we don't like it, we make suggestions.
Okay.
If we like it.
Okay, but I'm hearing people are making suggestions, so I think
The
we need to look at maybe alternatives or whatever.
The clock is ticking. We have 5 minutes left. I will end our discussion of the school budget still on 2610. That will permit the school board to think through what it might wish to do, hearing the input from the budget committee. Bob Carrier, what do you see as next dates to meet?
There's going to be 2 people that cannot make it.
Okay, and
if we go with the 21st of November.
December.
What did I say? December, rather.
I've been there and done that.
Okay, December, but.
Right, that's a ZBA meeting.
We're meeting
No, I'm sorry, 28th is a ZBA
28th
meeting.
is the ZBA.
21st is what?
It's on a Thursday, on a Thursday.
And what is it? Who can't make it on that night?
I can't.
You can't?
The 2 people on the, yeah.
Secretary.
The secretary.
Secretary, Doug, shoot, me.
I can't.
Okay. How about the?
Well, let me suggest, Mr. Chairman, we do have a regular budget committee meeting the 19th.
Of what?
It's a Tuesday.
December.
December.
Okay.
Okay.
If you
So it's
wanna
next
go-
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
Next Tuesday. So
That's fine with me.
then at the.
Will you make it?
I can do that one.
Okay, then, the next meeting of the Budget Committee, and this is just conversation, would be for the 19th at 6 p.m. here to continue the review of the school district budget, function by function, category by category, beginning with the transportation and whatever the topic was. I'm sorry, I just lost the page.
17.
Page 17. Beginning with continuing our discussion of category 2610, operation and maintenance. The school district is going to rethink the equipment line. We will also, since we only have a few pages left to do on the budget, that will give us time to hammer out any additional cuts the committee wishes to make, to vote on the warrants. Does that sound like a reasonable plan of action?
Indeed.
Okay. The school board will be available. Okay. Then is there? We have the school warrant. Do you wish to speak in the very short time we have left? Any comment regarding the articles? I think I heard someone say, Paul, it might have been you, that these were dead level or had gone down. Could you say that again, please?
No, there's no tax impact besides Article 3, 5,000 for the library, like we always do every year. Every other article, except for one of them's a wording change to Article 9. Every other article is based on fund balance
On the,
surplus.
on the fund balance.
So none of these raise taxes.
You know, I think
Okay.
in conclusion, I hope that we're framing this in the light. We're just talking school budget, I'm not talking about anybody else's budget or any other school or town or whatever. Budget, and I've been doing this many years, budget to budget, we have a decrease. Warrant articles, there's no new tax money in any of those other than what Paul said. So that's my closing point, that budget to budget, in lieu of all, you know, retirement and the health insurance, being very transparent, budget to budget, and in due respect, I fully respect all of your, you know, roles that you have. But whatever you're seeing is, we see it, you know, we discussed some things, we made some cuts, but I think that together with the board, we can make some intelligent decisions and figure out where to put things. Because I understand, you know, from the assessments and what the town can afford and all that, and I particularly tried to do that. But I also understand your feeling about the salary increase.
Now,
You know, that's really
then,
it.
I try to summarize and pick words that have come from the discussion. The school district's position would be that budget to budget, this is lower and more productive, driven by, you did not use the word chemistry, but that was my impression from the feedback you got from visiting schools where people worked previously, that chemistry, the sense of people you wanted was there, driven by competence, by market pressures, and by third-party federal and state requirements. The committee has said very clearly from the town representative side and from Dennis at his end that taxpayers feel stressed and pushed to the wall. Andy is very concerned about what seem to be the high salaries for given levels of performance compared to the size of the district. That sound about right from both sides? Anything else? Final comments from anyone here?
Ultimately, the sales job will be to the voters. And while I can look at this and I can rationalize every decision, I can agree with every decision, it makes total sense to me selling this to the voters, even though it is below last year. It's going to be tough.
Any other comment? We need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, after which the chair will say, no slur on Cumberland Farms, I like their coffee.
Wait a minute, all those in favor? Come on, guys.
Stand up and leave.
Yeah. School board, are you in favor of motion to leave? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I think it's an excellent budget.
God, I've been sitting too long, I'm stuck.
I